Oh, alrighty. So, as the music fades, welcome. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Because we had some we recorded the other night. We had some technical issues. I'm hoping that everybody can hear good. So, everybody, welcome to the show. I'm a little bit over here. Let me move over. This needs to be...
I need to move the camera, actually.
This was something I thought about last night. I'm going to have to move this, folks.
I got it.
Because I have to sit right here by the deal. So we're going to just move it over real quick. There we go. Thank you. Appreciate it. Because, you know, according to a very reliable source on the internet, if these people with me don't do what I say, I get very angry and I start complaining and yelling at them. Can you believe that? Boy, I was reading some of the stuff. And, you know, people, they message me and they're like, oh, rise above it. Don't feed into it. Don't allow them to hurt your feeling or whatever the heck it is. The only people that are going to hurt my feelings are those that I considered to be friends turning on me. Those are the ones that hurt my feelings. The people that I don't know, I've never met these people, and they say bad things about me, I don't give a crap. I don't care. I was reading it for like 2 hours yesterday, and we were all laughing at the crazy insanity. First of all, in my entire life, I've never taken the time to write that much about someone. Seriously, I can't go on the internet and go, you know what, I don't like Fontaine so-and-so. You know, let's go talk, let's trash his book, pick an author. You know, whatever. I'm going to go and talk about this. I'm going to go write about his book until time, the end of time. And then, and it's always like, well, is anyone else tired of Josh Turner? If you're tired of me, don't watch my show. It's not like I'm on the evening news, ladies and gentlemen. I have a great show planned for you tonight. We got stories. We're probably going to have a guest that's going to come on and talk about Dogman. It's going to be amazing. I'm telling you, I promise you. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. But first, I got some things I got to take care of. We got the Patreon here, okay? Let me explain the Patreon real quickly. $10 tier, 2 months, you get a swag bag. $20 tier, we did change it on the $20 tier. It is now 2 months too, right?
Okay, yeah.
30 made it sound like you weren't sure. You're like, okay, like that. This isn't the first we've talked about this. Are you sure this is what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Making sure your final answer.
Well, I don't want to make you mad because then you're gonna start yelling at me
and beat you.
Yeah. Well, okay. It's what they said is half true. He doesn't start yelling at us if he gets mad. He just starts beating us.
Why waste his breath?
Yeah. I mean,
it's very inefficient.
That's right. That's completely right.
Beatings take enough energy. So
straight to the beatings.
Yeah, you got to reserve the energy to just, bam, you know.
You know, you just got to smack somebody up.
Yeah, like he's so busy. He's got so much to do. He doesn't have the energy to yell at us and beat us.
Madeline, no words needed, just fist flying.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you did wrong. It's just, hey, Gary, everybody say a prayer. Seriously, let's take a time out for a second here. Scorpion, they buried his aunt today. Okay, his Thea passed away. She was the youngest of the siblings of his. That's sad. So everybody say a prayer for Scorpion. Scorpion, it's good to see you in the chat and helping us. Thank you so much. You're my best friend. And my brother, my brother's going to show up. My brother always helping. Everybody, remember, all this is fun and games, whatever, to a degree, but there's people that live and die, and let's remember that, okay? All joking aside for just a moment there. Prayer for you, Scorpion. Sorry, brother. I know that was hard. Not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody likes me, and they're not gonna like me. And I don't want everybody to like me. There's certain people in this field I absolutely don't want them to like me. I don't care if you like me. Okay, people talk about I hold grudges. Not me. They're saying they hold. You hold good. Hold grudges. Hold grudges. Unfortunately, some of these people, though, I want to say a little something, and I'm not going to go into a big long dissertation about these people. I'm not even going to mention their names. I'm just going to say, if you know, you know. It's good to see everybody. Gil, Spill and T, Lunar, Miss Wendy, Dub, everybody, KD7, everybody, the PRT families in the house. We need to stop now. And let's tone it down until they pop their heads up and say a bunch of other mess. You know, don't even bother. It's repair mode now. Let's say prayer. Okay. They pray too. I'm sure some of them think that they're correct. Okay. But what God is going to condone their behavior, not mine. My God's not going to condone all of our behavior either. Some of the behavior I've seen has been very not correct. I get it in the heat of the moment. I'm not one to judge people's behavior because, people get excited and some people were defending us. But you got to take into consideration too, some of the people that you're fighting with, they're not the ones that did this. They're the ones that are being led astray. So when you go all in and attack those people, you got to realize that some of those people, they're hurting too. Their favorite people, well, they don't do podcasting, I guess. What are they? YouTubers are doing what they're doing and leading them into battle against people. Jitesh, thank you, Jitesh. Always such a good guy. Thank you for the donations, everyone. JFA, who else donated? Your voice is hoarse from talking so much. Anyways, and some of these people, I'm gonna give you some information. And we're waiting for the chat to fill up. We start with the encounters usually around 300, so we get about 300 people. We'll start talking because we had to do this thing where we got so much to say here. Let me focus here. We had to do this thing where you can't rewind, right?
Yeah.
Let's explain that really quickly.
Yeah. So we used to have the live stream set to where you can as we're live streaming, you have the option to drag the little slider backwards and rewind it. But sometimes people would get in and they would think that they're watching us live, but they're actually 10, 15, 20 minutes behind, and they're commenting in the chat on stuff that we've already talked about. And it this happened on multiple occasions, and it's not their fault. But it kind of throws off the chat, people will be talking about what we're talking about right now, and someone's trying to address something else, and then the chat becomes oh, what is this guy talking about? Or things can be misinterpreted, and it just we want to be all on the same page at the same time. You can always go back and rewind and fast forward after the live stream is over and YouTube has processed it. So yeah, we changed it to where you have to watch us live, and we're live when we're live, and that's that.
And also back to the Patreon. So when you hit the $30 tier, it's automatic. $40, $50, same thing. On the $40 tier, you get one of my books and someone else's book. And then on the $50 tier, you get both books, right?
Yeah.
And then you get, okay. So the $50 tier is the best deal. And with all of these, you get a shirt or a hoodie. We do hoodies on, I think we decided, was it the $40 and $50 tier? You get a hoodie.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And it was my idea to give away a shirt and a hoodie, and Anthony and Tony were like, "What? We can't have enough for that." Folks, I like to give things to people. I really do. That's my thing. I like to give away. I know if anybody knows me, I like to give people things. I want people to be happy. Okay. That's why I do this. It makes people happy. It's fun. You can unwind. After the football games today, oh my gosh, my apologies to the Packers got screwed. The Cowboys got screwed. I'm going to say something, and I don't like the Packers, and I don't like the 49ers, but damn, dude, last week or the week before I saw the Niners game, it was, what was it, the 16, they threw 15 penalties on them? And then the Cowboys game against the Niners, they did the same thing to the Cowboys. You can't win a game when they're doing that. Folks, there's something I want to say about sports, and if you're not a sports fan, I get it. I'm not going to take a long time. Congratulations to the Texas Rangers for winning the World Series. My team, them and the Astros are both number one teams. I don't have one that I like more than the other. They're my favorite teams. The Red Sox are my second. I love the Bo Sox. I will only root against them if they're playing the Rangers or the Astros and in a big game. And if it's a year where they're good and the other teams aren't, I'll root for them. It's just common sense. But I'll tell you this. Sports has become riddled with nonsense, dude. These referees, these umpires of these leagues, it's terrible. I was watching, and I don't even want to say, it's not even a big deal, but I was watching one of the wild card baseball games. And it wasn't my team. They weren't playing. I was just looking to see who the Rangers and the Astros were going to play. So I had it on in my study, and I was watching, and I was doing some work on them, and it was work for my job. Doing the scheduling. I hate the freaking scheduling, Anthony, you know, it's a nightmare.
The chess game.
So I'm working on and you have to figure it out. So I'm sitting there, and then I got distracted, and I watched 2 or 3 innings of a game. And what I saw disgusted me. It wasn't even my team's playing. It wasn't. But if I was a fan of the Blue Jays at that point, I would have been mad. I would have been pretty aggravated because the strike zone seemed like it was changing depending on who was at bat. And I thought, this right here is exactly what's wrong. That's exactly what's wrong. And they're like, we don't want a robot umpire. Well, you might need one because that's bullcrap what they were doing.
I really don't see the need for an umpire at this point. It's obsolete because like whenever they hit the ball, that like immediately that they can track
it.
The trajectory, the distance, and the speed of the ball. But you need an umpire for a strike zone.
Yeah,
how does that work?
Yeah, and we've seen when the Astros and the Yankees were playing a few years ago, we saw that game where that umpire got hit in the head and he got taken out of the game. And then the guy that came in, he called it correctly. And what was his name that was pitching? He ended up going to the Yankees. He was a great pitcher for the Astros.
I'm talking about
Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole. He was up on the mound, and I was like, this is ridiculous. And my friend who passed away this past year, Thomas, he called me. He said, did you see that? Like, it was ridiculous. It was very ridiculous. And I was driving. I could hear it. But he was telling me, he goes, dude, you'd be so mad right now. The strike zone was itty-bitty for the Astros, and it was like, you know, with the Yankees. And I think they wanted the Dodgers and the Yankees in there. It was what they wanted. They were trying to get. And I watched it happen a few years ago too when the Saints were playing the Eagles. I don't like the Saints; they're not my team. Not the Eagles, the Rams.
Yeah.
The league wanted the LA team in there, so they got them. And I predicted it, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I predicted every game that how the dominoes were going to fall. Dak Prescott. Imagine this, folks. If you know about football, Dak Prescott. They were playing the Rams that year. I think it was when they went to the Super Bowl in. Was that 19? Or 18, something like that. But what happened was Dak Prescott got sacked, and he didn't even go down. And then he spun out, got loose. I believe it was Aaron Donald, and he got loose from Aaron Donald, and he took off running for a first down. Oh, no, you got sacked back there. How do you get sacked when you're not even on the ground? And this shapes and affects, you know, the outcome of these games. How is this even possible? Like today with the Cowboys game, I didn't even get to watch all of it. I just heard most of it because I was busy doing stuff. Just on the go. Shout out to my hairstylist. She did a great job. And I think she did a good job. She did also.
Oh, she always does.
And we were talking about it, and her partner who works for us said that they were watching the Packers, and they got screwed. And then a bunch of people that were Packer fans were telling me, hey, get this, because I have a lot of friends that are Packer fans. I have friends that are 49er fans. Shout out to Shane. I know you're a Niner fan, and I watched you guys get screwed a couple of weeks ago. Same thing, man. I mean, you know, you're watching these games, and you're watching what they're doing. And this corruption is everywhere. It's rife in everything. You can't watch it. I can't watch football no more. Like, I was all set to watch a really big game the other night, and I just didn't do it. I just turned my stomach. I was like, it wasn't my teams. It wasn't the Cowboys or the Texans or the Buccaneers or the Raiders, anybody like that. I like those teams. No, it was just two powerful teams I wanted to watch, and I couldn't do it because I know that the referees are going to be too involved. And then they throw you a bone every now and then, and they don't get involved. And they go, well, that game, nobody hardly threw any flag. Yeah, because that game didn't mean anything. Toward the end of the season in particular, you'll see these teams are already out of the playoffs. They don't throw flags. They just let them play. They don't care. And then they can say, well, it was even. We called it evenly. People will argue how many penalties were thrown against the Eagles as opposed to the Cowboys. Same thing with the Packers game. You'll see, the penalties were about – no. They threw a bunch of bullcrap penalties, a little ticky-tack, whatever, on like some kick or something with the Eagles.
Yeah.
It was like just to make it look even.
But I think it's about the timing of these penalties.
Yeah, the timing of the penalties is what really matters. When you give a team an entire drive, especially in the playoffs, it's not right now the playoffs, but last year, I saw it happen like 3 times. Entire drives for scores. And you're telling me that doesn't affect the game? Come on. Basketball, same thing. I watched a game one time years ago, Spurs, big Spurs fan, like the Rockets and the Mavericks, like all my Texas teams. I used to kind of like the Celtics a little bit, but I watched them. They just penalized them until they lost. Simple as that. And there's been a lot of people who've cried out over the years and said, hey, it's fake. These people are rigging these things. And what do? They sweep it under the rug. The problem, folks, is you, the fans. You, the fans. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is truth. You guys don't speak up if it happens in your favor. Go to the Super Bowl. Look up Super Bowl. I don't know what it was. It was Super Bowl 40-something. The Steelers and the Seahawks. That was the biggest injustice I've ever seen. I'm not a Seahawks fan. But if I was, I would have been infuriated. And I liked Holmgren up to that point. Mm-hmm. And I was mad that he didn't step up and say something about that. Because Hasselbeck, he was driving, trying to get back in the game, and they threw penalty after penalty after penalty and kept them from getting every time they got a first down, they called it back. I mean, it was a miscarriage of justice in a way that, I'm talking like bad. The Seahawks organization should have sued the NFL. I'm going to tell you that right now. I would have been up in arms if it was me. And I was just like, man, thank God that's not my team. But it happens to the Cowboys too. It happens to the Texans. It happens to the Raiders. It happens to the Buccaneers. I watched the Buccaneers get screwed by the Rams the last year or a year before. Ridiculous, dude. Just ridiculous. And the penalties, because they want certain matchups, certain teams, ratings. They wanted to solidify that L.A. market. They marched the Rams into the Super Bowl. You think I'm joking? Did it twice until they finally got them to win. I predicted every game that first year that the Rams went to the Super Bowl in recent memory, that when they were in L.A., the second year I think they were in L.A. or something, maybe the third, they got in there. Mm-hmm. I remember I predicted every game. I said what they were going to do, and they did every single thing I said they were going to do. If you know me in my everyday life, you know that I was telling everybody what was going to happen. And it happened. So today, even then, the Cowboys, I think, were the better team. I'm not just saying it's because it's my team. It's like I think the Packers were better than the other team. I think it's terrible that these teams get screwed like that because the league wants them to lose. That's all it is. Thank you for that donation. We appreciate it. Miguel Guerra, also awesome guy. Thank you, Tammy Smart, for that donation. We appreciate it, definitely. But I think what happened today, we still had a chance to win at the end.
Yeah.
Even though all the penalties, that tells me that we're still a better team, and next time we play them, we're going to beat them. And I think that there's a lot to be said about these other teams that are experiencing this too. People need to wake up and speak out, even if it's not your team, because your team could be next. You know how it goes. You don't say anything because it's happening to your neighbor or your friend or whatever. You don't say nothing. Oh, I don't want to be involved. It's not me. Then when they come knocking on your door, then everybody's all up in arms. Oh, I don't want to do something. Now you want to do something. You didn't do anything when it was happening to us. You sat back and threw your hands up and said, you don't want to be involved. But then when it's your turn, and I'm going to say one thing too, I stand by what I said about that group. Now, I'm going to say this, all right? I don't care what anybody says about that situation. The screenshots are all there. The conversation that I had with this individual, I'm not going to say his name. It's all there, okay? You don't have the right to go to someone's Facebook. I'm talking to everybody out there right now, the audience, whoever is going to watch this. Thousands of people will watch this by the time we're done. I'm going to tell you this. You don't have the right to go to someone else's personal Facebook page and wage a war. If they're on your page doing something to you, you can defend yourself. And I fully expect if I go to one of these fools' pages and I start saying a bunch of crazy stuff and argue with everybody on there, I'm going to get dogpiled on and attacked because you're in the wrong freaking yard. Okay? You can't go and cry after you start something and then you get attacked because that's my personal Facebook page. Mm-hmm. Okay? So when 100 people come down on you, they're not all trolls, okay? They're defending their friend. Thank you for that donation. Is that, what does it say, ND Southpaw?
Yeah.
So this man who came to my Facebook, is still just spinning out and angry and whatever, and he's got a friend. We have a mutual friend who's trying to broker a peace. I don't know how successful that's going to be, or if I even really want it, because I really don't want to deal with this individual. And from what we've uncovered, you better find something to put that on. Paper towel, and they're in there before you know, because there's nowhere to put it. We really need coasters.
Yeah.
I can tell you this. We have one, but we don't. I'm going to tell you this. I will not go to someone else's Facebook page and start a big riot, okay? Because when people start rioting, don't do that, please. Can you please because that thing is not going to, it's going to get all over the place. So, anyways, I'm not going to do that. When all these people were firing off on me on their Facebook page, guess what? You know how many people I went after on their Facebook page? 0. Why? I didn't even go to the YouTube and make comments in their comment section. Why? What's the point? All they got to do is just delete it. I mean, and then you're gone. Right? Or you can do something really stupid and go absolutely ape crap on them, and then they're just going to leave it up for everybody to see how ridiculous you are. That's another tactic. Okay? And we employed that. Just let him rage. Let him say all the negative things in the world and just leave it there. I wasn't saying anything negative and ugly to you. I was just telling you that you weren't correct. I stand by that. When you attack someone's wife, what do you think is going to happen? I'll defend anybody who's my friend. Like there's Michigan Rob. He's in here. I'll defend Michigan Rob to the end of the time. He's a good friend of mine. I'll defend Bettina. I'll defend any of them. But what I'm really going to do is defend my wife, because that's your job. Or you're not a good husband. And I'm not going to sit there and let somebody be ugly to her. She did not go into that group to start anything with y'all. She went in that group because she thought that it was just another group, and she tried to tell her experiences, and she got jumped on. Now, this guy likes to not show the whole story. So if you're somebody, and there's only 2 of you so far, who are trying to defend this guy, I only know 2 people who are. 2 people. One of them is kind of whatever. But the other guy, let me tell you something. You need to read the private messages between me and him. I didn't attack this guy. I didn't cuss at this guy. He flipped out on me. So there's really nothing to defend. I don't even know how you can sit there and defend it, really. I don't get it. But that being said, I still am willing to have peace. I don't agree with it, and I think a public apology is in order. I don't think he's going to do that, so I don't think there will be peace, because if he doesn't publicly apologize, I'm not going to accept anything from him. You can take that. He says he holds grudges. Good. Hold grudges. You can hold grudges. I don't really care. I don't hold grudges if you change yourself. Now, these other guys, the Filthy Five, it's not about me or you guys or anybody here are holding grudges. The things that they have done are very egregious. They've done very egregious things to a lot of people, and it goes well beyond just me. People are like, well, you need to just shut up and leave them alone. Blah, 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 blah. You're not paying attention to what's going on. You're not paying attention. I will not go to another man's Facebook and wage war. That's silly. Now, when they ask you for a response and they tell you, hey, so, whatever, and you give it to them, that's different. But these people weren't inviting me to come to their Facebook. I didn't invite this guy, Mr. SS. This is initials SS. I didn't invite him to come to my Facebook. He just came on there. And one of the 2 guys says, well, if you make a post like that, what do you expect? I don't expect him to come to my damn Facebook. I could tell you that. Who the hell does that? These other Filthy Five are saying very incendiary things on their Facebook. I didn't go over there and go, hey, man, what's up? Because that's not me. That's not me. So this guy came to my Facebook and did that. Not my thing. Because you're going to lose. I mean, one of our good friends tried to reason with one of the Filthy Five on there, and he just got deleted, and they're just going to mess with you. Oh, Barton, I just saw somebody say, hey, Barton. So Barton Nunley in the chat. Folks, go check out Barton's show. Show him some love. He does great work, and I'm looking forward to all the lives that he's going to be doing. The guy is a legend. What can you say? You can't say anything. He's a legend. He's a legend.
It's an OG.
He's an OG. Him and Ron Moorhead, to me, top of the pile. Right? Never on the bottom, always on the top of the pile, right? That's where they're at. I'm going to say this, and we're going to get started. We got enough people in the chat now. We're ready to go. I just don't want people to be behind in the chat, and when they want to come in and be insulting, like Giovanni, whatever her name was, Giovanna, whatever, make sure that when you start throwing the insults that you're on track, because we were in the middle of a story, and it's like, you, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what is this person talking about? They were like an hour behind, you know? You're so far behind the race, you think you're in the lead.
And have the decency to insult us with proper spelling, punctuation, and grammar, please. At the very least.
It's only right.
It's not a lot to ask for.
No. Yes, Liberty, I agree. Barton's show is engrossing and fascinating. Everybody, when you leave this chat tonight, go and subscribe. Check him out because he's going to be doing a lot of great work. There's a lot of big things coming down the pipe for him, and he deserves it. Deserves every bit of it. Nothing but a good friend. Nothing but a good friend. He's taking a step back from Facebook right now. Don't blame him. Wish I could. I can't because of the growth of the show, but I get it. I get it. I can say this. There's a lot of people who sat on the sidelines during this whole ordeal. He wasn't one of them. Like, he did not sit on his hands. Now, granted, you know, a couple of my friends recently said, well, you know, you said you didn't want us. I didn't want you involved. There are certain people I told to please stay out of it because I know that they can't handle this. It's not for everybody. Okay? Anthony told them. He's like, I'm built for this.
Yeah.
I'm built for war. I don't care in whatever form you want to wage it. Okay? I'm made for this. I'm a dog when it comes to that. Don't mess with me. I got nothing to hide. You can check my criminal record. We get checked every year. Every March, I get a background check. Federal. Goes through state, local, federal. I got nothing. Now, when you live in a glass house, maybe you shouldn't throw big old chunks of asphalt at people. Because asphalt is not something you should be throwing when you live in a glass house. And if you have a glass jaw, you should shut your mouth. 50 Cent. The great orator and philosopher.
The great poet and philosopher.
50 Cent. But anyway, folks, we have a great show planned for you. Enough of this. Let's get all this stuff out of here. I'm going to try to bring a guy on. Let me see if he's going to come on tonight. And if not, we're just going to retell encounters. And that's what we're going to do. That's how we do it, man.
I wasn't talking about myself, Plymouth. I was talking about Wolf.
No, I'll give you that. So here's what I'm going to tell you, folks. After Halloween, we got a bunch of weird stories. How many did we get? We count, 8?
Yeah.
There was 8 different stories, all about Halloween. And they're like, hey, the next day, they're like, dude, guess what happened to us on Halloween? So we thought we would talk about some of them. You know, if you ever watch, I don't really watch this show. I only watch the YouTube clips of Jimmy Kimmel where the parents eat the children's candy.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you ate my candy. And if I was those kids, I'd be wanting to punch those parents. I'm telling you right now, you ate my candy. I get it. But so we thought we would do, we started this thing called Halloween Leftovers. It's not based on that, but I just thought it was a cool that they were doing that. You know, I thought that's cool. Something that happens after the holiday. Well, it's not really a holiday, but some people treat it like it is. It's like a big thing for the kids and all that. I don't really participate much in it, but I can say this. We have a lot of weird things that happen. So we had stories planned, and we had some kind of honorable mention, I guess we thought a couple years ago, right? And we went into the Halloween Leftovers. Mm-hmm. So we're doing a Halloween Leftover tonight, but it's really, there's some stories that need to be told. Weird stuff that happened to people on Halloween, and they were like, get this, you're not going to believe what happened to us. It was really weird. So without further ado, I'm going to get started on one of them. One of them, this one happened up in Idaho. Was it Idaho? Did we talk about it? I think it was Idaho. Let me make sure. Let me look in there. So we're going to be on our own tonight. No guest. He can't make it tonight. He's got a meeting in the morning. That's cool, man. Thank you anyway, though. We will get with you. Don't worry. One of the things I'm going to say about this particular story is it was. Let's start from what happened on Halloween night. This particular person, they live in a small town up in Idaho, and they were having a little Halloween get-together. And the guys hired a guy to spin, you know, a DJ, whatever, who came down from Salt Lake. And they had a great time. They were in a garage, and then part of his, and he has kind of, not an estate, I would say. The guy has a piece of land. And by his own admission, he's like, he's not a wealthy guy, but he's well off. So he had a big old Halloween party, and it was actually a pretty cool get together. And everybody was having a good time. This didn't happen on Halloween. It was Saturday night before Halloween. So, because a lot of times when Halloween is Monday, Tuesday, people will party and whatever on Saturday. I know that from working in clubs, which thank God I don't anymore. But these people, they were having a big old get together, and there was a lot of people there, and there was a bunch of people in the garage. And so what ended up happening to this guy, his name's Chet, and he said, you know, you're not going to believe what ended up happening. He's like, we were all hanging out, having a good time. He's like, and a few of us at one time just kind of noticed, because there was music playing, so it was loud. I look over, and he's like, and there were 2 or 3 of us talking, and I see that this guy had a bunch of antlers on a table laid out that was butted up against the wall, the back of the garage. And it was covered in antlers, like deer antlers. This guy was is an avid hunter, and he's sort of he tries to do his own taxidermy. He's kind of like learning about it.
So an amateur taxidermist.
and making a joke here, but he's still in his 20s, so he's not good at it. I'm joking. I'm not, and it's not Chet. It's not you. We're not talking about. You're talking about your friend. Okay, I'm kidding. All right, don't get mad. But there were some antlers, and they all started vibrating. Okay, not from the music, because I said, well, of course there's bass. I mean, like the music, you know. So I asked that question. I was like, well, you sure it wasn't from the music? He says, no, nope, absolutely not. The antlers, when they said stop the music, because a few people saw it happen, and when they stopped the music, it was still going for a few seconds. So several people saw it, but a lot of them were inebriated, so they just kind of went back to what they were doing. Oh well, whatever. Here's the prelude to that. Okay, there's a whole backstory behind this, and you guys have heard this. We already went over this story together. Such a weird thing, like a really weird thing. The guy whose house it was, at the end of the party, he tells, and it's not Chet's good friend, it was his good friend's friend. It was actually his girlfriend that was her best friend's boyfriend. And so they know each other pretty good, but they're not best friends or anything. And they were all sitting there, and they were talking. Double Baron, who is Mushu? He's nobody. Don't worry about him. But so we're sitting there, and they're sitting there, and they're talking. And he says, man, I wonder if this has anything to do with the situation I had going on with a shadow being. And his girlfriend, who is, I guess, his fiance, she was like, I know. What if that's what caused that? So then they started talking about this. It's like 3 a.m, Saturday night, whatever. And I think that it might be something that had happened to him. And here's the story that he told our friend Chet. Very weird thing. What happened to this guy was he was hunting. What did he say? It was a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was last year. Last year, during deer season, this is when this all started, he was up in a deer stand, and he managed to hit a buck. He went down to check it to make sure that it was, it was because it was moving around, and it was starting to get dark. And his friend, who was a mile and a half up the road, he kept trying to call him, and there was no signal. He couldn't get to him. So he said, you know what? He looked at the buck. He made sure that it was deceased. He unalived it. So he said, you know what? I'm going to wait for a little bit and see if he comes back. He says that while he was waiting, he started hearing strange noises, like grunts and growls coming from the woods. There was a clearing right there. And he's like, what in the heck is going on here? What is this? So he goes and just starts walking. There's a trail that leads out of there. And of course, 1.5 to 2 miles up the road, he finds his friend. His friend had fallen asleep. He was aggravated. His friend was like, he's like, I'm back at the truck, I'm going to wait or whatever. Had messaged him. And he said, I thought that this guy wasn't answering me. Maybe there was no signal. He didn't know what was going on. And the guy said, and so the guy that shot the deer, he said, we'll call him Jay. Jay shot the deer, and he said, I waited, and nobody came. So I said, you know what? I'm going to the buck's not going anywhere. I'm going to leave it there. And he takes off and goes to the truck to find his friend. His friend's back at the truck. Because his stand was right there by the truck, whatever. And he said, there wasn't anything happening over on his side. So he said, I'm going to wait for another hour or two. And that's what Jay did. And then he managed to bag a buck. So they drive back down the trail. They go to where he's at. He gets out and he walks over to where the buck was. And there's nothing there. Not even any blood. Which I thought was odd. And so I asked him, I said, let me ask you this question, Chet. What did Jay say? Can you, what did he say he thinks happened? He says, well, he said, here's a really weird part of this deer hunting story. He said at one point, this deer was hopping around on its hind legs, almost like it was trying to walk on its hind legs. So he thought maybe there was something wrong with one of its front limbs. So he watched it, he observed it, and then when it finally stabilized itself and began to walk, he said it walked around in circles. And he said that he made the mistake of, like, when he was sitting there, he had a pair of binoculars, they dropped. And this buck, usually skittish animals, very skittish animals, turns and looks and doesn't even it doesn't run. It just keeps looking around, and just keeps, and then it was kind of swiping its antlers up against a tree, which was, the whole thing was just weird, the way this buck was acting. And he was like, maybe I shouldn't do something. Maybe he's got some kind of disease or something, They do carry a type of mad cow that affects deer. So he but that didn't come into his mind because he didn't know about that. I told Chet that. Now, what ended up happening was this guy ends up taking the shot and going after this buck. It was a nice big buck, and he comes back and it's gone. Now I asked him. I said, when he shot this buck, was there blood? And he said, oh yeah, there was blood. But when he comes back, there's no blood on the ground. There's nothing. It's like the deer didn't exist.
Yeah.
And his friend was like, are you sure? Because if you shot Deborah Muller, yes. If you shot this thing, he goes, it would have woke me up. I was only 1.5 miles away. It's pretty loud. And that whole area, like, there's kind of an echo. Like, because they said the way the trees were, He said, I would have heard something. I didn't even hear you fire. And he says, dude, I shot it. It was right here. Now, they did see a depression on the ground where it looked like maybe something was drug away. I don't know.
They didn't find any other
There
tracks.
were hoof prints. Hoof prints.
It.
Like on one side where it was kind of muddy. I told you about that. It fell kind of into a bush. Or I told you guys. We talked about this story.
Yeah.
Very, very odd. Very odd to say the least, but it gets weirder. The next night he comes back, he's out there and he comes back home. He's about an hour or 2 hours from where he lived. And he said that he got home the next day. He went hunting the next day too. Mm-hmm. He didn't see anything. Nothing happened. So it wasn't like he just went straight home. And then that next day he went after, before it got dark. He said, you know what, I'm done. It's Sunday. I want to go home, whatever. He goes home. That night, when he gets home, he hears a weird noise. As he's about to go to sleep, him and his wife are talking about their day and whatever and blah, blah, blah. This was deer season last year, and he was talking about football and, whatever. And so he's like, good night, honey. And he's like, she rolls over on one side and he rolls over on the other. It's not his wife, it's his fiance, whatever. They hear a clapping sound that sounded like somebody gargling. And so they both turn and look at each other like, what was that? So he gets up out of bed, he grabs a firearm, and he goes to confront whatever it was. There's somebody walking around our hallway. They got a child. Each one of them has a child from a previous marriage, young children.
Mm-hmm.
The children are sound asleep. There's nobody in the house. The next day, he goes to work. He comes home. That night, he hears something again. And his wife said, yeah, I was here. She gets home about an hour before him. She goes, I was here, and I thought I heard the door open. And I heard, she's like, this is going to sound weird, but I thought I heard hoof prints, like hoof sounds.
Yeah.
Like a horse. You know, he's like a horse? She goes, yeah, maybe not as loud as a horse, but it sounded like something clopping around on the hardwood floor. So Jay gets kind of disturbed, and he's like, I don't know what's going on here. He goes to go to sleep, and he hears like this loud, like something like rubbing against the wall in like out in the hallway. And they had a dog, and it was growling and barking and acting weird. And then they hear a thud, boom, against the bedroom door and against the wall right there. He gets up and he goes out there to investigate to see what the heck, what's going on here. He goes out into the living room and the kitchen, and his wife is behind him. She grabs a kitchen knife, and he's like, little joke, but he was like, not really feeling the knife in my back. And he's like, honey, can you not? He goes, I got the pistol. I don't think we need a knife. And she's not going to help anyway. She's like, well, I feel better with it. And he's like, I don't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a joke, whatever. She goes back to put the knife down, and then he says, oh my gosh, what he saw was he said it had to have been 7-8 foot tall shadow being with antlers. He's like, it was like if you saw, and it was just a shadow. He said it was moving across the wall, moving like, oh God, like it was walking along the wall like a shadow. He says, and I thought, something's creating the shadow. They have like a loft type house, whatever. He looks up and he's like, I don't see anything. So he goes upstairs, he's very apprehensive. He doesn't tell his wife. He says, go back to the bedroom. She's like, no. Of course, she argues with him. And he's like, look, just go back to the bedroom, call 911. She's like, no. So she's like, runs up the stairs with him, this time not with a knife at his back, goes upstairs, and then they turn and they look, and they both see it. That's when she saw it. He didn't want her to see it. And this thing was moving along the wall, and it comes off of the wall. It is no longer two-dimensional. It is a three-dimensional being, and it's weird. It's like there's like this blackness to it, and it's almost like it's wavy looking. And when I said wavy, I said, or when he said wavy, and I asked Chet couldn't really elaborate on that. He goes, I don't know what he means. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't ask that part, So we were left to kind of wonder. Now, he did say he was going to get back with me and tell me about it, so if there's an update to it, I'll tell you. But I don't know what that means, but it was standing there in his living room. 7-8 foot tall creature with antlers. They couldn't make out a face. They just saw the antlers, and they saw what looked like arms hanging at its side, like this. And then it backs up into the shadow, and it kind of like turns into this angular oblong thing and goes out the wall. Then he saw it again. 2 weeks go by, and he's making breakfast for his children, or their children, his child and her child, and he's cooking omelets and stuff and having a good time. They're all having a good weekend. And he looks over, and there it is on the wall again. He said, and he thinks it had something to do with whatever it was he shot that day in the forest. So I told Chad, I said, tell Jay to get in touch with me. Let me talk to Jay. Let me just get to the bottom of this. So Jay, he calls me, and I answered Jay, and I said, Jay, I'm going to tell you like this. You're full of crap, dude, all right? I'm a skeptic, and I believe that you're full of crap. And my whole show is just built on proving all you people wrong. When you bring me your encounters, I'm going to mock you, I'm going to make fun of you, and I'm going to get all my listeners to join in. And I hung up.
Well, that's what we've done this whole time, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was the
That's not part of the story, folks. That part is a joke. I'm joking about that. I didn't actually talk to Jay. I did not. He did tell him to reach out to me. This guy's not reached out to me. Of course, Halloween just happened. It's not like it was, what is this? Happened on Tuesday. So this was a week ago. So it happened a week ago. So, if he reaches out, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. What is Dub 45 says? I wouldn't have to tell my wife to run. She'd leave me standing there. That's not a good thing. Jordan Cogburn says, if it's pixelated, does that make it a bat deer? I don't know. King of Heco Mundo, me too. I could go for an omelet right now. It sounds good. But so there was this thing in his house, and he says, there it is again. The third time he saw it, and get this, was the night of the Halloween party, Saturday. And guess where he saw it? Right there on the backside of where the garage was, where those antlers were jumping around.
Yeah.
Him and his best friend, I think he said his name was Doug or something. Him and Doug were moving some stuff from the backside, like a bucket, or like, what do you call it, a trash can, where they could put ice in there, like a big plastic tub where they could put the keg in or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And they see this thing, and his friend's like, whoa. And he's like, I just saw this black shadow thing. So I guess really he didn't see it. He just caught a glimpse of something move. But his friend, he tells his friend, he's like, Doug, stop. Tell me exactly what you saw. And when he tells him what it was, he said, okay. Same thing. So I guess technically he's seen it twice, but somebody else saw it and confirmed that they'd seen it.
That's gotta. Oh, I was gonna say that's gotta really suck too, because if one of those antlers, was cursed or haunted in some way, you'd never be able to figure that out. You'd have to get rid of the whole batch, pretty much.
Well, he never got the deer, so it wouldn't be those antlers.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, I don't think I don't think it was.
That's what I'm saying.
Antlers,
No,
it
I'm
was
not
just
saying.
entity.
I was just saying, like, if it was connected to one of those antlers in some way, you'd never be able to figure it out.
Why would it be connected to those antlers?
Well, it was hanging around that area where those antlers are at, and that they're vibrating and they're acting up.
Okay, let's break this down for a second, folks. I get what you're saying, but I kind of don't get what you're saying. You want to just elaborate a little more?
Well, I was just
make yourself look more dumb.
I was just simply stating that if it's a certain, if it's connected to one of those antlers, you'd never be able to figure it out, and you'd have to completely get rid of all of them. I'm not saying that he cut off the antlers and it's one of those antlers, definitely. But since all the activities happening around the, okay, child, stop. Kind of talking.
Yeah, it's very childish, right? Very childish of you, Anthony.
No,
stop.
Seriously, go ahead.
No, I'm fine. I kind of forgot what I was talking about anyway.
Okay.
I get what you were saying.
If it's that easy to forget what you're talking about, you probably didn't know in the first place.
Oh, God. Well, you were sitting there distracting him. Even though it was funny, you were distracting me too, though. That's not good. No, I get what you're saying. Like he didn't cut the antlers off.
I'm not saying that, yeah.
No, I mean, yeah.
It was not that it was connected directly by that thing, but obviously those antlers are being affected by something, and you would never be able to figure out what exactly it is, and you would have to completely destroy all of those bucks or that you've hunted, and that's just months of time wasted collecting all of that material that you just have to destroy. So it sucks about something like that where you lose so much effort put into it.
Okay, but I'm still not following, why would those antlers be haunted?
Well, all the activities happening around those antlers, right?
Well,
they're vibrating.
The activity was not happening around the antlers. It happened at the Halloween party around the antlers.
Maybe he's saying that the antlers are.
Well, then again, they showed
at
up.
the Halloween party.
They happen again right now. He saw that creature right next to those antlers. So it was obviously are they connected to the antlers in any way, or why are they showing up near that area? Is it something that completely affects only deers?
Yeah, that's one thing. Brian, is his name? What does it say? It's Pulio? Let me put my eyes in. I hate having to wear these glasses, folks. Folks, I need donations for my eyes. I need LASIKs, okay? I was talking to the whole heavenly host in heaven, and they said you need to send money so I could get glasses. I mean, not glasses. I have glasses, but LASIKs. I don't need glasses, folks. Can you please just donate generously? Generously! Yeah. No, folks, I just don't like putting these things in, but I will. I will because I love you. Here we go. What does it say here? Thank you, Kate. I was joking, but thank you, Kate, for that donation. We greatly appreciate that. You're always so kind. We got to make sure. We got to do something for Kate.
Come through every time.
We got to do something for Brian. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, Brian. I haven't seen you in the chat before. Brian Polio says a biped with antlers kind of reminds me of some depictions of the Wendigo. Yes. I don't know. You guys are gonna like. I think they're gonna enjoy. We recorded with his name. His name was Doug too. Doug Breen.
Yeah.
Bryn?
Yeah, Breen. And his,
he-
wife.
Craig.
I'm sorry. Thought his name was Doug. Okay, I'm thinking of Doug because this guy's name. This guy's friend's name was Doug. Okay, Craig Breen.
And his wife.
I'm sorry, my mind is so many miles away. But Craig, thank you. He re-recorded with him recently, and not this Thursday that's coming up, but the Thursday after for 2 weeks, and it's going to be his experiences. He's an Ojibwe Native American, him and his wife, and they recorded with us about their encounters with Dogman / skinwalkers. Freaky stuff, really freaky stuff. There's going to be 2 Thursdays coming up, and then this coming Tuesday, what did we talk? What did we talk about? Shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Tuesday, shapeshifter stories. It's a shapeshifter potluck. Okay, but no. Let me say this. I think Brian has a good point there. Brian, I don't know if I said your name correctly. Sorry if I butchered it, my friend. I'm not trying to. Double Aaron, thank you for that. LASIK for the $10. I will use it though for that if I ever get the money to do that. If I can get past all this other stuff I got to take care of. Valerie, guys, thank you so much. Valerie, very nice person. I love Valerie. $10. Thank you for that donation. Miss Wendy for Mushu's noodles. Yeah, do something about those noodles, man. People don't want to see that. You know, go out in public with those arms.
He does have a good taste in actual noodles, though.
Actually, you know what he does? Yeah, he does. I will say this. If it was me and I saw that thing in my house, I would have been trying to cleanse it real quick. Now, they don't believe like I do. His girlfriend, she's actually, I guess she used to be Mormon or something, and he's agnostic, so he doesn't really believe in that because I told Chet to tell him what to do, and he declined. So that there's nothing I can do about that, and I can't help you any other way. But I just said what works for me. What works for me, you know, it's whatever. But yeah, I don't think that thing's going to go anywhere if you don't do something about it. It can get worse. It can get a lot worse. One of the things I will say too about something like this is I don't think that it's the antlers in particular. I think maybe that is part of it. But I mean, is this something, and I want your opinion on this, folks. I'd like for you to interact with this. Tell me what you think. Do you believe that this is something that was caused by him shooting that buck that was acting very odd? Could it be from that? Or is that what we're dealing with here, or what they were dealing with? I'm saying we, like we're dealing with it, but you know what I'm saying. Like is it that what happened? Or are we, hold on one second, hold that thought. Or tell me what you think. Or are we dealing with something that has nothing to do with that and it was just playing on that? Could that also be a possibility? But it did start around the time that this, that was just them seeing it. They've heard weird noises and had doors open and closing and weird like cold spots, and the children have had nightmares. There's been some stuff that's happened since that incident. Before that incident with the shooting of this particular buck, nothing had ever happened, and he's shot at least a dozen and freezer full of deer meat every year, and he goes hunting every year, and nothing like this has ever happened. But he's never seen a buck act weird like that either, is what he's told Chet. So give me your opinions, folks, on this one, because this is a very odd case. It's a very odd story.
So, but he's hunted in the same area previously, though?
Oh, that's another good point. Yes.
Okay.
But he had only done it one other time, that place where he was at. He had hunted there the year before, and he managed to snag a buck, but nothing happened from that one. The thing that was weird about this was the fact that he heard weird noises, and then the thing disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of that.
It makes me think of two things, because it's like, oh, if it's a not deer, then it just was incapacitated for a while, then just moved on. But then I thought, like, oh, maybe it's a skinwalker, because you said there was hoof prints there afterwards.
Yeah, it was.
So I thought, like, oh, maybe it just got up into a bipedal form or a different form and just ran away. But
Let's read some of these comments. Go ahead, finish.
I was going to say, so a couple of the comments I saw were saying, like, if it was the skinwalker, then it was like a skinwalker trick where, like, since it was affected, or it's the same animal, that it could affect some of the similar body parts like that. But I don't know how true that is.
Shade Viking had a good statement there. He says, maybe he is not a respectful hunter and some native spirit is angry with him. I mean, that to me, I don't know.
I mean, it definitely sounds like it's associated with that weird buck. I mean, I think that's...
Maybe he was just like hunting in the wrong place at the wrong time and aggravated like this forest spirit, because I think there are like nature spirits that claim like different territory. You know, like there's like forest spirits and like water spirits,
yeah.
and you know just these spiritual beings that have never been humans. They just are what they are, and they've been around for a long time. I don't know. Maybe he was hunting in this thing's territory, or maybe that buck that was acting weird was a target of the spirit for one thing or another, and then he comes along and shoots it and interrupts whatever it's doing that involves that buck.
Yeah, see, that's why this discussions about these stories, like, and of course, folks, we've had a lot of people reach out to all of us and ask us to go more in depth on the stories. Paul Cockroach, or what is this? How do you say it? Cockroaches, elementals, possibly. You know, one of the things that we were told to do more of is this, to actually have some conjecture and discussion about these encounters, rather than just spitting out the encounter and going, well, see you later. Hey, war criminal, what are you doing? Valerie Guy says, tagged Hitcher effect, or the interaction could have brought him into agreement or spiritual retaliation. The antlers were like antennas.
It kind of seemed like to me
for that donation,
that it was like, it was similar to what Anthony was saying, like it was a punishment of some kind, because it seemed like it was very obviously trying to show, like, hey, these deer antlers, like, you know, even those, they weren't even the ones that were affected. They kept doing it like, hey, remember this deer antlers, remember what you did. Mm-hmm. And it was like it was trying to remind him,
trying to mess with him.
Who knows? Yeah.
I mean, here's a comment right here, guys. And Andrew Brown. Oh, it just jumped. I lost it. Dang it. Oh boy. Oh well. I'm trying to look for Angie. Thank you for that, Patricia. The donation. Red Harvest. Thank you. What? I saw it on there. It was somebody named Andrew Brown.
Let's see.
And then there was another one, Kim. Hey, Anunnaki, how you doing? Aussie Sue, Love Cat. Sugar Britches, the legendary Sugar Britches, helps so many people in this field with their podcasts and doing what she does. Double Aaron says, from the description, the creature sounds like a Wendigo. Yeah, I mean.
Okay, so Andrew Brown says demons can possess animals. Also says it in the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Andrew Brown says, sounds like it possessed that deer that he shot, and then it followed him home.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many different,
well,
you could look at it from every type of angle, but there's something that happens to these people. Now, this is why I have a problem with skepticism. Skepticism is healthy and it's good to a degree. I believe we all need skepticism in our lives to be able, because I do get tired of this where people are like, oh, what was that? Was that a spooky ghost? No, dude, it was a faucet dripping. All right? Oh, it's your pipe banging. It's not everything is a ghost. Not everything is a Bigfoot or a Dogman trying to eat you or kill you. See, this is where critical thinking actually does. This is how critical thinking is supposed to work. But when you have, from what we got, thousands of people telling you that they've had these weird encounters with something's going on there. This guy was an agnostic, had never had any spiritual encounters whatsoever in his life. Never saw a Bigfoot, never saw a UFO, not one single thing. Then this happens to him, and he's got a year's worth of stuff happening to him. Well, over a little less than a year, but that right there to me screams that the investigation needs to, that's where you got to stop thinking, oh, well, this is just, bull crap. This person's not, and something happened to this guy. Something happened to this guy. I'm not going to sit up here and say that every single time somebody hears a noise Because I've literally had people that were just like, oh, what was that? And it's a cricket, But no, there are people who do have things. Yeah, Brett, thank you. Skepticism leads to discernment. Not everything is an evil entity. That's correct. But there are some people. Dear Healer says I can never send in a donation. It just keeps buffering.
That's weird. Maybe try closing out the YouTube app and restarting it. Because that's something with the app.
Was it Kim? Was it her that said something? No, that wasn't her. There was a person's comment that I wanted to read. I'm going to find this comment. I think the person's name was Heather. I could be wrong, but I think that's who it was that said that. Trying to find the comment here. Well, I saw this comment and I wanted to read it. You guys can read a couple of comments while I'm trying to find this person's comment.
Well, there's one comment by
Brett.
and I'm gonna butcher this name. Kohakan Hanan. He says you kill this physical form, and I think he was piggybacking off of what we said earlier about how this demon or whatever it was could have how they can possess animals, and maybe it possesses deer, and you took its physical form.
It jumped over.
Or it was in the middle of possessing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Heather Gamir, is that G? Damn, when you hit that button, it just flipped. I lost it again. There it is. She says, I believe it's a skinwalker they portray as deers and different things. Okay, now, if it's a skinwalker, are we dealing with something that can fade into the shadows? Now, we've talked about skinwalkers before, and we've had Native Americans literally tell us that they. Yeah, no, I got you, Heather. I got you. It's on there. There's another one. Ken Christian says it was in the process of taking over the deer when he shot it. Yeah. Then Red Raider says I'd go more with the skinwalker thing. It's a very plausible scenario. We've heard that they can move into the shadows. Now, Scorpion has done deep dives on vampirism and vampires, and he is not an expert on it, but he knows probably more about vampires than any of us at this table. That's kind of his wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm. Vampires and Star Wars.
And Star Wars. He knows the canon, the non-canon,
Yeah.
who's whatever's canon, But I will say this: one of the things. What did it say?
It was a Luke Skinwalker.
It was Luke Skinwalker. Very clever, Shade. We know you're a very clever guy. Just look at his videos. But when you take into account the shadow creatures, there's a type of vampire that's found in the Middle East, and it's known as a shadow walker. And I don't know how that translates. Scorp could tell you more about it. But there's this vampire that actually moves in and out of shadows, and it can take form of anything within a shadow. But that's sort of different. It's not really a skinwalker, but a skinwalker. We've heard that they can move through shadows into darkness. And just a lot of weird stuff. I mean, there's just some weird stuff. We told the story about the Alaskan. Was it on Friday? Because we didn't have a show, so it was Alaska. So that was a pretty Heath. The guy's name was Heath. Well, not important what his last name is, but Heath. He shot something or shot something. He looked at something through a scope. He refused to pull the trigger. Probably a good idea, but he thinks, after doing some research on it, he thinks it's a skinwalker of some type, And then, of course, people will be like, well, it couldn't be a skinwalker because it's not the Navajo. No. Dude, it doesn't matter. Everybody calls a soda a Coke, okay? I'm drinking a Coke. You're drinking, Shasta, whatever. Barton. Barton and Ken, messing with you guys. Look, no, seriously, what I'm thinking though is like, it's a catch-all term, but it's still a type of shapeshifter, evil shapeshifter that is in all the legends, pretty much every legend of Native American lore.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is why people want to pick and choose from the Native Americans what they want to pick and choose.
Well, I think like whatever evil that you give yourself over to become like one of these shape-shifting things, it's not going to care what you look like, what your ethnic background is. They want your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Like your body doesn't matter. So if it's not Navajo or not this or not that, it makes no difference. That they'll take everything they can get. They're not like picky, like oh, I don't want this, I don't want this person over here because their ethnic background is not what I want. They don't care.
Patricia says, ask Kirk Reed about the Girl Scout murders or whatever. We were told, I don't know if this is true, that was something that Ike made up to get views on his show. I don't know if that's true or not. I really don't know. That's what we were told by several people, that never happened. I don't know. He ran a game on Kirk too, so I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, we didn't like the way his listeners, and we didn't like the direction that Kirk was taking the show." Kirk was taking the show because Kirk was trying to do something correct, and the other guy didn't want that. So, but we're not going to talk about that. Kirk's a friend of mine, but the other guy, you know what he is. So take anything on his channel with a grain of salt, because that guy will spew out anything to get views, and he's not above lying, so we know that. This drink, my wife does the best she can to make it taste good, but it is rough.
There's only so much you can do. Huh?
You can't sweeten it.
It's for gout, and she can't sweeten it because of gout. Never had gout in my life until the last bout of the vid. But let's see here. JoJo says, I'm here working, so I'm listening. Well, we hope you're listening. I'm going to say this, and we're going to move on to the next story. I don't know what this thing was. I can't even begin to tell you what it was. I can give you... Corey Cole says, this drink mocks me. What's mocking you, Corey? What's going on? I don't know. No, Penny, no, it's not actually. It's not. But I don't have a lot of sodium. I don't intake a lot of sodium, so that wouldn't even be, In fact, my sodium levels are low typically because of my propensity to hang on. My body hangs on to it. I don't know. So we're going to move on. And here's another one. Now, this one is one about a cloaked creature. We got... Sorry, I'm going to move that out of the way. And then we got two more that we need to try to get to. I don't know what... The one from Virginia or the one from Budapest?
Let's go to
Budapest. Because those are about the
Yeah.
same, along the same lines. Or we could do the cloaked one. The one in the...
Let's do Budapest.
Well, that's not a Halloween one, though.
Wasn't there one we talked about that was out of like the DFW area?
Yeah, that would... Well, oh yeah. Which one was that? That's because I've not seen it right here.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I do eat fresh cherries, Jacob, but right now it's not cherry season, so I can't eat them. It helped a lot, though, eating cherries when it was summer, and it helped really control it.
Well, I think tart cherry is in that drink that Nelly makes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what this is, tart
That's why it
cherry.
makes-
It's got
that's why it
lemon,
tastes
but
so
it's
bad.
so sour from the lemon.
Yeah.
My wife takes care of me. She's a good person. She tries to, She's a nice person, let's put it that way. There were things that I was like, I think we should use a flamethrower. She's like, no, let's just call them. Let's just call 'em. I'm like, no. They've made me mad for the last time. You have failed me for the last time. That's me. And then she's like, oh, well, let's not force choke people. Let's just, This whole war got me thinking. You know, have you ever seen the documentary War and Civilization with Walter Cronkite?
Yeah.
And then you know, I thought this war could be, you know, we could do an entire timeline and do it in Walter Cronkite's voice.
Yeah.
Facebook becomes a battleground. By the time it was over, empires would be built, houses would be in ash and rubble, destroyed, casualties of a war started by a madman in Oklahoma. That would be Cronkite. And then you'd have John Keegan on there, and he'd be like, well, the thing about Shogun Wolf was that he wasn't going to take their crap. And, well, once they figured it out, well, it was a little late for them. He was tired of their BS, and, well, he bombed them back to the Stone Age. The war raged on across Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and eventually they were driven back to their hovels. Of course, you got to have that little tooth there when he talks. Keegan, one of my favorite historians. I really enjoyed that series because Keegan, like, I love those guys.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be funny to make like a little parody of
show.
it, you know. You can take stock footage from, you know, war, memes flying back and forth. It was terrible. The carnage. But the truth is, folks, it's not a joke because a lot of people did get hurt by this. And I would have stopped way back if it wasn't for that. If I hadn't found out everything I found out about the people who were hurt, that were victimized by these individuals, I would have given it I would have left a long time ago. Yeah, exactly, Cricket. That's a very good idea right there. Just do some, you know, deliverance. I'm going to go with this one. This is a guy named Chase. Are you talking about Chase's story?
I think so.
What was it? Give me an idea because I can't remember which one. It's not written down right here. So I got like 30 of them, but I don't see that one. The DFW one. Jitesh, thank you for that.
I thought it was like a cryptid encounter in
Well, that narrows
the
it down.
DFW area, but
Something spooky happened
Something spooky happened
somewhere.
I don't know what it was.
there's so many that like I remember the area, but I don't want to say like specifically what it was because
Was it a Dogman?
I can get my wires crossed. I think so.
Because today I was talking to 3 different people about Dogman, and one of them gave me a story near Houston, and another one gave me a story near DFW, and then one of them was the Sam Houston National Forest, which was Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was telling me, and then the other guy, you know, Jacob, he was telling us his story.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then what's his face, Trey, from well, actually he's from Oklahoma too. But those people that we'd already gone over, I had to get their stories today. So I was sitting there wondering if there is, because it's weird, all 3 of those people at one point lived in the DFW area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, was it something you heard today when I was talking, or was it something that we had? Oh, okay. So then this is another one.
Yeah, it was. I think we had talked about it after we recorded yesterday.
Are you talking about the little people one? The one we got where the little thing was hiding the stuff under the dresser or whatever?
Was that in DFW?
Yeah.
Okay, so that
It was like Garland, wasn't it?
I think so.
I think it was Garland, Texas or something like that. Is that because you like those little people stories? You were like trying to push, you know, the
I don't know what it
Ojibwe
is.
couple to try to get some little people stories.
Yeah.
You kept wanting me to tell them that or ask whatever. I'll say this: those are not Halloween shows. Those are stories that are going to be told at a later time, and I haven't even finished fleshing out everything. But I'm pretty sure. I don't know, Barton, if you're still in the chat, didn't you had an interview with Brandon, I believe. I'm not real sure. I can't remember. He couldn't remember who it was that interviewed him. Was it if it was Ken or him or Sibylla? I mean, not Sibylla. I can't. I'm trying, folks. I'm sorry. I'm over here just saying stuff. Can't remember what I'm, trying to remember. There's so many, and let me say something else, folks. There's so many people with so many different stories about stuff. Okay. And then there's so many people who don't mind you using their first name but not their last name. And then people don't want their name being mentioned at all. And you got to give them a pseudonym. And then there's all these different people that they've talked to. Like I was surprised because one guy was like, "Well, don't say my name," and then he told us, "Well, a year later, go ahead and say my name on there."
Yeah.
And then he's, I mean, I don't have a problem with this guy. All right, we're talking about Ernest. I don't have a problem with him, but I mean, he went on to Supernaturalist and was like, okay, like there's a story right there. Same thing. I heard it on Darkness Prevails, and they're like, oh, you're retelling their stories. No, these people gave me the same story. Okay, I do have carte blanche from What Lurks Beneath and from Albert Rosales to tell, and the MADP to tell, and IDP. Who else? Let me make sure I forget. And Barton. We all share. We don't mess with each other. If we give credit where credit is due. Okay, and if that person, you retell a story from that person, the thing is, I mean, that person's going to give Barton the story. They're going to give us the story. They're going to give Blondes and Booze the story. Think of Matt Imsh. I haven't seen Matt Imsh in here today. Congratulations to him he's really got his story out there, and I like Matt. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I talked to him like a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I mean, I like Matt, and so message him because I have a question to ask him online if he wants to message him and say, hey, we're in the live if he would come on and maybe, or if you're listening, I don't know. What's his name? Revenge Nerd. Well, that's his gaming handle. We used to play with him on Age of Empires, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Mark. He from Australia. So we'll just call him Revenge Nerd. All right, we'll just call him Revenge Nerd. His name starts with an M. We would just say we were going to call him Mark. Are you talking about his story when he was at the haunted hotel? Because it was the hotel where we stayed at. Are you talking about that story that Paulito asked about that? And maybe that's what you're talking about. If you can remember what it is, just let me know. But anyway, I'll tell you this one. And this one's interesting because this one happened near Halloween, but this isn't one of the Halloween leftover stories. But I'll tell Revenge Nerd's story. That's a gaming handle that he used to go by, I believe. I think that's what it was, Revenge Nerd 89 or something like that. He's from Australia, but his family, he had as dad would travel. I think this might be the one you're talking about. And he came to the States when he was like 19, in 1995. He was a little kid, not 19. He was a child. And they stayed in a hotel right there by what's that place called where we went to go, the Medieval Times.
Yeah.
So there was a hotel, really cool hotel. What's the name of that place? So people.
That was the Hilton. I think it's called like Anatole, or it's not Anatolia, but it sounds similar to. I think it's just Anatole or something.
And they have a little museum there.
It's a Hilton hotel. Yeah.
They have a piece of the Berlin Wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have all these like Chinese artifacts. It's really cool. Pieces of history. Like, it's a really neat place. It's a cool place, and they have a water park attached to it. What better place? And we got to stay there for free because we had something going on. But so we stayed there for a couple of days, and we had a great time. We went to the Medieval Times or whatever. It's in Dallas. So I was chatting with someone on a game that I play, and this guy started talking to me about that particular haunted place, and he says, Hilton Anatole. Yeah, Morgan, thank you. He said that he had a very creepy experience there. Him and his older brother, he was a kid when this happened, okay? And he said that they were in the hotel. It was like in the 90s or something, He said they were running around in the hotel. And he said, I stayed at that hotel. And I guess he's not very old. I guess he's like, I don't know, in his 30s or something. But he was saying that when he was a little child, like he was there at that hotel, and there was a woman that was walking through the hallway. And this was the night before Halloween. And he thought, okay, this is... If you don't like ghost stories and you don't want to be scared, then check out right now, okay? Because this is a scary story. So what Revenge Nerd said, that's his, like I said, is a handle. We'll call him Mark. What Mark said happened was him and his brother were walking down the hallway, coming back from the pool. Now, I don't know if they had the water park there at that time or not. He didn't say. He just said there was a pool. And he goes, I know, and he gave me this story a while back, last Halloween, because he was saying, hey, I know you like to tell stories on your show, whatever. I got one for you. I'll get to you. And so we started messaging back and forth, and we're sitting there playing a game, and we're annihilating our enemies, of course, because I always win. I'm a second lieutenant in that game. But anyway, he was telling me that they were walking down the hallway and there was this woman. They thought that she looked kind of out of place. She was pushing one of the carts like it was the soap and the towels and all that. And he thought she was a housekeeper. And he was like, ma'am, we need towels. She turns around and she's wearing a mask, like a cheap plastic mask. Like, when you're, those little cheap masks that like, kind of like the one you were wearing, but that one's like, it's like hard rubber. It's like, but the little cheap plastic ones are flimsy,
Yeah.
And he said that it was just a white mask. And he's like, think of like Vega as Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Right. And Zane, I don't know, Zane's not in here, but I know Zane remembers this because he was in the game with me when we were playing and we had teamed up or whatever. And this guy starts telling us a story. He says, and he was just typing it all in there. And I remember what he was telling me. I remember him saying that he could see what looked like when he got right up to her, like him being a little child, she was taller than him and he was holding his brother's hand. His brother was a few years older than him. And he said, I don't remember how old he said he was, but he was looking at this woman's face. And he said that he could see blood, like what looked like maybe dried blood had come down and was running down her chin. And he was looking at her and thinking, what is wrong with this woman's face? Like, why does she look this way? And he said that she had on like a white plastic mask and she's like, oh, happy Halloween. And then she tries to give him some candy and he pulls his hand away and she's like, oh, don't be scared. And when she got down to look at him, he's like, he could see that where the eyes should have been, there were no eyes. It was just like rings, black rings with like blood. And so he thought, he goes into the room, he freaks out and he starts like freaking out and his brother gets him under control. His brother's like, what's wrong? He's like, she didn't have any eyes. And he's like, what are you talking about? And so, because the brother didn't really pay attention, he just said, do you want the candy? No? Okay. And then pulled him into the room. And he starts freaking out. The next day, and of course, he had a dream that night that this woman came into his room and was like moving around, moving stuff, touching things, like she was cleaning. And here's what's really weird. The next day, he gets up and he has to take a shower and they're getting ready to check out and everybody's going to breakfast. So his mom's kind of rushing him and she's laying on the bed watching TV. His older brother and his dad had already gone downstairs to go to breakfast. He's still messing around trying to get ready and she's starting to get aggravated with him. So then he hears the door open and close and he hears his mom outside talking to somebody. And then he just keeps showering, whatever. And then he hears on the door of the bathroom and he gets out of the shower and he's like, just a minute. And he's like, Mom? She didn't answer, so he thought it was his mother. He opens the door, once he dries off and everything, he opens the door, and that woman, the housekeeper, is standing there. And she's like, are you okay? Do you need a towel? And she goes to hand him a towel. And when he looks at the towel, there was a blood stain, like on the towel from where her hand was.
Gross.
And then he goes, ooh, and he backs up and he looks up at her, and he goes, her mask was up over her head. And this part is where he really freaked me out. And I didn't speak to this guy. I just remember reading what he said. It looked like, he goes, if somebody would have skinned your face, like there was no skin on your face. She had no lips, no eyes.
Like that dude on Hellraiser.
It was horrible. He's like, she had no ears. It was just hair, like blood smatter right here on the hair. And then the hair was just down around. And he said that was Halloween day, the day of Halloween. And they were staying at that hotel. So that's a weird one. I mean, that's a Halloween story, but that one wasn't one of the Halloween leftovers. But yeah, that's a weird, freaky story. He gave that to me probably well over a year ago. But
so he just shut the door in their face and...
No, he screamed and started like kicking at it. And his mom opened the door and was like, what's wrong with you? Because she was outside talking to somebody. And she's like, what's wrong with you? And then the specter, whatever, he looks and he was like, and it's gone. So he starts babbling about it again, I guess. My words. He starts rambling on about it. And his mother smacks him on his butt and tells him, stop with this nonsense. And then when they're leaving the hotel, he looks up and he sees a woman appear in the window, like in like one of the rooms, like the third or fourth floor. He said he looks up, and his brother saw it too. And there was a woman with the mask. And he's like, that's the woman with the mask. And he looks and he's like, okay, so what? It's Halloween. So his brother never believed any of the other stuff other than it was a housekeeper that was wearing a Halloween mask. And I did say this. I know, and I will say this. I didn't say this to him, but I will say this. There's always a possibility that this could have just been something that he, maybe he's a child, maybe this imagination.
Read into it.
Yeah, but how do you explain it coming to the bathroom?
Yeah.
But there's no proof because there was no blood stain on the towel. There was no towel. There was none of that. So he couldn't prove anything. All he has is his brother seeing the person. Now, the brother did say he saw what he thought was blood on the chin, and he said maybe she'd cut herself or something. He rationalized everything. He's one of those people that's like, oh, well, the devil shows up and says, hey, I'm the devil, and it's right there in front of you. Oh, it's a good costume. 9 foot tall, too. That's amazing. They don't care. They're not going to believe you no matter what you say. And it is hard to believe some of this stuff because, it didn't happen to you.
Yeah.
Didn't happen to me. And funny thing too, and people, they're like, this is a really scary story. And I know it is to most people. To me, I'm like, I've heard it all so many times. My wife did say one day, though, she's like, I don't know how you can sit in that study and listen to those people tell you all that scary stuff. And I'm like, well, you got to get used to it because that's the game, right? This is, get out of the game if you can't play. I got to be able to listen to people tell me some scary stuff. And there have only been a handful of times where I've had to say, okay, hold on, this is freaking me out. But yeah, that was a scary story, and that was just us playing a game, and then we were just like sitting there chatting or whatever, and then he messaged me that. But that was a creepy story, and I remember that one very well. If I messed it up, I'm sorry. I don't think he watches the show, but I know he used to. So Revenge, thank you for that story. That is a Halloween story. But I was actually going to do a show on haunted hotels and people seeing workers of hotels and things like that. We've done one on haunted hotels for Texas.
Yeah.
And it was creepy. But that was a scary one. I will say this. The brother admitted that she was not dressed like the housekeepers of the current era. That she looked like she didn't belong. So I thought about something weird too, folks. What if you would have grabbed like one of the soaps or toothpastes from the cart? Would it have, you're like washing with it and you look down, there's blood smeared all over your body. I don't know. I'm just thinking like, what could that be? You know what I mean? Like what would that be? I don't know. Check it out. It's Marv. I don't know about you, but I'm having a ball. I can say this though. If it was me and I wasn't a child, I would have punched that thing as hard as I could and just seen what happened. Because there's no way I'm not going to let something. I would probably have tried to, and just who knows what happened. I probably would have gotten taken down and choked by whatever until I cried out to Christ because you can't really fight it. But your first instinct is to throw a punch. Mine
You
is.
do that, and it turns out it's actually just a lady dressed up for Halloween.
You knock her smooth out. You're like, oh my God.
Oh.
Why are you trying to scare me? I'm going to try to shower. I would be upset too at the person doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you go and like you hear these voices every night, kill your family. Kill the people you're with to purify yourself. And then you go out and you do it and you're like, I did it. And your friend's like, oh no, it's me, Ed, your neighbor.
Yeah.
I was joking. Yeah. What did you do?
It's a Bluetooth speaker, dude. I hid it in your room.
He's like, I gotta call the police now. You're like holding the knife. Well, I can't let you do that, Ed. Sorry. I'm committed now.
Them ghosts is telling me to kill you, Ed, or unalive you, Ed.
Sorry, man. You shouldn't have done it.
I don't think you thought this one through, Ed. There are consequences.
Not using your
it
head,
would be
Ed.
horrible.
Yeah.
Oh man. But anyway, folks, give me your thoughts on that situation there. Let's talk about it briefly. Let's see what people have to say about it. It's so funny. Zach Coulter says it's so funny. People ask me what my favorite piece of ghost hunting equipment is, and I always say my 45. There are crazy people out there. Yes, sir, there are. War Criminal says, I hear Perryville Battlefield in Kentucky is extremely haunted as well. Yes. Isaac, Ayahuasca, Josh Turner, thanks for keeping the show up and running. Lots of respect and love. PRT Productions, I wish you and your family. Thank you for that. In the full armor of God. Yes, thank you.
Derek Elsner says, just found your channel from watching Earth Files. Subscribed.
Thank you, Derek. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I want to say welcome to all of our new subscribers and all of our new listeners, and we hope that you guys like what you guys see.
Yeah, and
Well, not what they see because they're looking at y'all. But, you know, put it back on me.
oh,
I'm the
look at
face of the
him.
show, so I mean, they better.
Am I the face of the show? Or is it this man? Is this man the face of the show?
I
Show him
think
again.
the
Show him again.
dancing
Put him on there. Shake a
Dogman.
muscle. Let's see what he says.
And if you're new to us, it's important that up front you realize that we are a cult.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
Yes, we are definitely a cult.
yeah. There's no getting out. There's no going back. You've crossed the Rubicon. You're past the point of no return. You hit the subscribe button. That's what you signed up for. Okay, you're with us forever. Good luck. We're a cult, and Wolf is our cult leader.
Yeah, I am. I think my official title is Deacon, Jedi Master, Lord Noodles, King of Udons or something like that.
Yeah, I prefer the title. I don't know. Think of something cool. Dark Acolyte, Sith, something Jedi, something or other.
Vader's
Yeah, King Dark Vader,
Sith, Jedi,
Sith,
Master.
Mandalorian.
Yep. That is our cult member's name, and I like to be addressed as such.
You can just call him Boo Boo Fett.
What was that joke I told you a while back?
What?
My pronouns. I'm so Asian. My pronouns are he, ya.
Yeah.
Hi-ya.
I'm so Hispanic. My pronouns are como and que. Or mande and que. Shady Viking says Sith shoe. If you mispronounce that, you could get in trouble. Dick Richards, worst titles ever.
It'd be the name of a dog, a Shih Tzu. You know?
Okay, you know what? I'll take that from you, Dick Richards, because I think your name is pretty clever. It's Richard Richards. We're just getting caught up with somebody else's comments.
Okay. All right. So let's get back to the encounters here. So here's another one we got. Let me go ahead and put my glasses on so I can see if there's anything of worthy here. Nope, nothing's worthy. Let me see here. So I guess, you know, we should probably tell Chase's story about the creature up in the tree. So this one happened in Ohio, and I don't know how far away from this is, but he says he lives outside of Cincinnati. He didn't give me an exact location. But this guy's name is Chase, and what Chase told me, pretty bad, pretty disturbing. I will say this. I know that there's a lot of things that people see. And when you are a child or you're young or whatever, it seems to be more intense because I think when you're young, you don't really know what you're dealing with. You don't know what you're looking at. And so I think it can be more terrifying. Now, he had two things happen. This one happened over the Halloween weekend. It happened on, well, I guess not the Halloween weekend. It would have been the day before Halloween, so that would have been a Monday. And that happened just this year. Mm-hmm. But he gave us a story. Now, we'll preface it. We'll go to this first. We'll tell the Halloween story. He was at his mom and dad's at their house. Chase is not he's not an older person. He's in his late 20s, which is young to me. That's like 20 years my junior. And he, like a lot of you millennials, like to go back home to eat and things like that because you still live with your mommy and daddy. I'm messing with you, Chase. But not really. You do that, guys. So he goes back home to eat dinner every now and then, and his parents, they only live like 30 minutes away. What does it say? L. Pepper says, I'm in Ohio. Cincinnati's full of the dark occult in and around the area. Yes, that's what he was saying. And in fact, that has a lot. Thank you for saying that, because that has a lot to do with what we're talking about. One of the things he said to me about this situation, my back. What he said was that he had encountered something when he went back home. He was pulling up, and there was this tree on the side of his parents' house. And when he was pulling up with his girlfriend, He, not his girlfriend, she was driving. He didn't see it. He was looking down at his, she was looking down at her phone. He was driving, I'm sorry. And he says, look at that. And it looked like one of these cloak type creatures that was up in the tree is looking like he could say it was like you saw like a head like turned toward him, like you could see kind of make out like a human type figure, a humanoid type figure up in the tree. And he tells his girlfriend, look, and she looks. At that time, the thing kind of is like on the tree branch, and it kind of wraps itself like it's holding onto the tree and goes around it. He said it was large but monkey-like, like a monkey.
Yeah.
But it was like he said it was very like I forgot the word he used, pulsating. He said it was pulsating. You could see it shimmering and pulsating. And I was like, what color? And he says the only color that was coming off of it was a yellowish white color, but you could just see it in little sparks on this being. And it went around the other side of the tree, and he gets out of the vehicle and he runs over to the tree and he puts the light on it, and he illuminates the tree, doesn't see it. When he goes around the side, he shines the light, and that's when he sees it. It's like a translucent looking being. But then he starts to take a look at this creature closer, and he sees the feet are kind of wrapped around the tree branch, looking very claw-like, almost like talons on a bird.
Yeah.
But then he sees the arm, the leg. He could make it out what it was, but it was like it was cloaking. And then it started growling and hissing, which at that point he put the light off of it and got his butt out of there, because you don't want to stand there and mess with one. He said, we don't know what this is. But we have heard many, many stories from our show and multiple other channels and shows about cloaking. And we're still not even sure what that is. And people claim that Bigfoot does this. I don't know what it is. Now I can say this. When I get a story like this, if you see something like this, and I'm going to tell you folks, don't get too close to try to see what it is, because that is your natural curiosity wanting to convince you that it's real or not real. Consider it that it probably is something you're seeing. Other people have seen it too, and I do believe that they exist, and I don't know what they are. And who knows how many different types of these creatures can actually have this ability and do this. So there's no telling what you could be looking at or dealing with. And I would say err on the side of caution. I encourage everyone, if you're out in the field and you're doing research, or if you're at your parents' house and you're with your girlfriend like he was, be very careful of messing with these things. So he goes inside. His girlfriend doesn't see it because it's on the other side of the tree, and she refuses to go over there. And she had a weird experience one time when she was with him taking the trash cans out, and it scared the crap out of her. So she's like, something's over there. I don't want to go over there. She's like, I'll take your word for it. They go inside. They tell the dad. The dad goes outside with the dog. They had German Shepherd, or Australian Shepherd. They go outside. The dog doesn't want to go outside. The dog runs back in. Then his dad sees something move and decides to do what any sane person would do and throw a rock at it. When he threw, now get this is where what his dad had always kind of doubted in his story, because there's more to it. Mm-hmm. He throws a rock up at it, and he sees something kind of like go through the air. He could see it kind of like from the backdrop of the sky. He sees it swatted away. And it was blending in with the background, but whatever it was not part of, you could tell that it was something there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something else.
Yeah, so he swatted it away, and he was like, whoa. So he goes back inside. The dog is freaking cowering and freaked out. He goes back and he tells Chase, he says, yeah, there is something out there. So he goes to call the police. Pretty weird. Well, it's actually it would be the county, whatever. When he gets on, when the police, they do call the police. When the police officer arrives, he talks to them. They go around, they look, they shine their lights. They don't see it. What's crazy though is when Chase was inside upstairs, he could see it in the tree. He's like, I see it right there, and it's on the other side of the tree. And they're looking at the tree on the other side, and they don't see it. and the thing had climbed up higher. So there was no way. So he goes outside and starts trying to point it to him, and they don't see it. So they're thinking this kid's just crazy. They're just like, okay, dude, you're just, well, he's not a kid, but, you know, they're thinking this man's crazy.
Yeah.
And his dad is not really being very supportive, although he did see something swat a rock away. And his dad's like, look, you know, let's just forget about it. It was something weird. He goes, you know, let's just put it out of our minds. His dad's very much one of those people, or at least I don't know him, but I mean, that sounds like it. Let's just pretend like it didn't happen, right? That could be easy to do, especially considering he doesn't live there, but his parents live there, and he's worried about his parents. And he asked me what he should do, and I'm like, I don't know. But there was something that happened that predated this. When he was about 7 or 8, he couldn't tell me which. He said it was the summertime. When he was 7 or 8, one of his friends was over and they were playing. And they heard a tapping on the glass. And he said it wasn't like a, no, it was like something trying to get their attention. When they looked out the window, they saw what looked like a creature. The only way he could describe it was if you took a lizard and mixed it with a monkey. And I said, and I'm trying to picture that in my head when he's telling me, and I'm like, a monkey lizard type creature. What could that look like? And he says, dude, it was very monkey-like. And then he went on to describe this creature he said he saw in a book called the Monkey King. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Explain what that is.
Sun Wukong is a monkey that was born from a rock that kind of goes on this great journey with a priest to redeem himself because he got imprisoned by Buddha. But it's like a folklore kind of mythology or history thing where it's to be taken with a grain of salt mostly, and it's more about like
a fable.
Yeah, it's called A Journey to the West, a fable. It's exactly what it is. But yeah, it's the being himself. He's a monkey person that was born from a rock.
And you grew up on these stories,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty famous
East Asian story.
Yeah, Goku was based off him. A lot of people are based off of him and stuff like that. You normally see him carrying like a staff. That's why you see, you know, a lot of people having that kind of monkey-like thing, and then they carry that staff around. That's how you're supposed to know it's supposed to be about him.
Yeah, and so he sees this monkey-looking creature, but he said that it was weird. The hands of this creature, and they saw it, him and his friend, and he said it was the summer. And he couldn't remember if he was 7 or 8 years old because he was born in the summer, like I was. And he said it just looked so weird. And he goes, and it had these little claw hands. He said it wasn't but about maybe 5.5 to 6 foot tall. It wasn't overly large. What made it look reptilian was the eyes. And I figured that out. He said it had a weird looking snout. The nose was weird. The nose was like 2 holes. And it had these little conical teeth like a crocodile, like an alligator snout with a monkey body and head. But the hands were very talon-like, and the eyes were slitted like a snake. His words. And so whenever you see something like that, very weird. He said that him and his friend ran. They stared there and looked at it for a few minutes, and he said they ran out screaming. He goes, I got to be honest, my friend was braver than me. He said his friend stood there staring at this creature for a lot longer than he did. He turned, got it out, hightailed it out of there, and then his friend turned and got out of there. And he was already I was already down the stairs. My friend was just coming down, and he goes, and I ran to my mom and dad. He's like, my dad, I'll never forget, my dad sitting there looking at his phone or whatever, looking at the whatever, puts the phone like, okay, let's go look at this creature or whatever it is that you got going on. And he goes upstairs, and he's like, this is what he told me. Now, this part was pretty interesting. I thought this was pretty cool. And this is a Halloween story. But remember, this didn't happen on Halloween. This was in the summer. But what he saw the night before Halloween was just the other day. His dad, he goes, it was like that scene in a movie. This is what he told me, right? He says, his dad goes and he pulls the curtain back and says, see, no monkey. And it's standing right there on the tree branch. And then he closes the curtain and doesn't look. And they're like, oh, that's right there. And then his sister, his older sister, she was in the hallway and she saw it. And she's like, Dad, it's right there. And he's like, you too? So then he marches back over to the curtain, okay? And he pulls it open and he looks and it's not there. And then they're all like, well, it's gone. And he's like, there's no monkey here, okay? No monkey. Closing the curtain. We're done. Done with the discussion. And then he's like, I don't know what you saw. And he goes, at this point, I don't care. He's like, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to eat whatever it was he was eating, meatloaf or whatever. And I'm done, okay? I'm going to go eat steak or whatever. Have fun with the monkey. And he's like, dude, I was never so disappointed in my life. And I said, did you see it again after that? He said, no. He said, no. And then that night on Halloween, he goes, yeah, I saw this. And I talked to him about it. And he said, dude, I saw it. And when he messaged me that first thing, I was just like, I want to hear this because this is weird. Because we got Dimitri's story from Fort Hood, or Colleen too, where the thing came up underneath the Camaro, a restored Camaro. But yeah, weird stuff. This stuff happens on Halloween, and he goes, do you think that it was based because of the Halloween? I said it could be, because what I saw happen on Halloween night, and I don't know if I'd believe in anything up to the point until I saw what I saw. It is what it is, But his dad, he said his dad was very exasperated, with the whole thing. His dad did have to admit, though, he saw it swat something away. Now, all these years later, 20 years, almost 20 years, 20 years later, he sees this thing that looks like a cloaked figure, and it looked like that monkey. And I asked him about the feet. He goes, I don't remember when I was a kid seeing the feet. I don't remember what the feet looked like. The weird thing, though, was that the color of the skin was a bluish, greenish color. And weird. That's very weird. So you can give me your thoughts on that.
Did it have hair anywhere on it?
Oh yeah, he said it had hair, but
what
it was
color was it?
Human hair.
What color was the hair?
I don't remember. I didn't ask. He just said it had hair. I guess I should be a better detective. I don't know. Kim Teague, I always listened to my son when he told me things and believed him because I myself have had many experiences. What happened to you and your son? You should give me those stories. Tell me. I want to know. I'm just curious, man. I mean, I am at times skeptical too. I get it, but I'm also, I want to know because I do believe that a lot of people have weird experiences.
You have to have a healthy dose of both sides. I mean, what is the saying? Keep your mind open, but not so open that your brain falls out. So you're always saying that, and it's true. You have to have the ability to discern for yourself what you believe. I mean, that's probably the one thing I'd recommend if you want to get into podcasting and get into paranormal podcasting in particular. Just work on discernment.
L. Pepper says, hey, Josh, Edadorpa was written in Cincinnati. Yeah, that's weird. That is a weird connection there. It's about the inner earth. If anybody doesn't, if you don't believe in the inner earth, I'm sorry. I'm telling you, you think that we're the only thing here? This huge place that we live on? And it's just us on the top surface and there's all this space underneath us?
We still haven't even figured out most of the planet yet, and you're still trying to say that that's it. We haven't even found everything yet. We're still finding new creatures all the time. Just ignorant behavior and kind of childish.
We don't even know what's in most of our lakes.
What?
Not even huge lakes. Just pick a lake. We really have no idea what's in there.
Yeah, I mean, Kim, if it's that much, then we should maybe we should talk, and then we could decide whether or not you want to come on and just tell the stories yourself, or we could tell a couple of your stories, and then you could come on eventually and just tell the story. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it. We get tons of people's stories. I think everybody has given me a story at some point in time. Now. Another thing too, if you give me your stories, don't be offended if I don't use them. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not show worthy. It's just we have a lot of other people ahead of you, or we have other stories that we're doing, depending on what we're doing at the time. And maybe I haven't had a chance to really read your story, or maybe I'm in the process of fleshing it out. I actually had somebody who's kind of funny.
Or I mean, I was going to say we might also be basing a show, building a show off of it too.
Yeah, because we might be putting one together for that.
Yeah.
But somebody back in June was all like, "I gave you my story," and blah blah blah. And literally, maybe the second time this has ever happened, while somebody was complaining to me about not telling their story, and I was literally like already putting a show together with that story in it. I said, "Well, I guess I could take it out," and they were like, "No, go ahead, put it in there." And I was like, "Okay," because I was literally just about to be telling that, and you were upset with me. I mean, give me time. I'm a human being. I'm only human. I'm only human.
I mean, that is the price.
Oh, look at him. He's spinning out again. He's acting crazy and just completely unstable because, he's got emotion and he gets all nutty. Can't you see how crazy he is? He's crazy. These emotional outbursts need to stop, okay?
He's going to beat us again. I can feel
I
it
see
coming.
a padded cell in your future.
Oh yeah, he's not gonna do it on camera though.
I'm not going to do it on camera. I wait.
Did you see how
There's
I
evidence.
He just flipped the camera over, so he's going to
I didn't know, but he did. No, what they were saying on that wonderful site that everybody goes to dump their trash, they were saying that y'all seem very beat down and what was it? I had an idea to read some of the silly comments on there, but then Nelly said that it would just fuel people to go and say stuff so they could get attention.
Yeah.
So I thought, no, we wouldn't do it because I just wanted to laugh at these clowns because some of the stuff they said. One of them, I will say this: she said that we had a ghost. Right. I said that we were playing a board game and a ghost was knocking stuff over. Okay, if you're gonna be lurking in the chat and you're there and we know you are. And you're going to run to edit, okay, and say a bunch of crap.
At least get it correct.
Get it correct. Get it right. Nobody said a ghost was running through my house knocking stuff over. All right?
I mean, Anthony already said this one time, but it's ridiculous because, we're not perfect human beings and we do have flaws. But instead of focusing on those, you make up crap that we're just like, this doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect me because it's not true.
Yeah.
Get it correct. I mean,
you're just not very smart. If you can look at someone and your goal is to insult them, but you have to just make up stupid crap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's stuff about all of us that you can actually use, but you're not smart enough to do it. So you got to make up nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just funny to me because it's it's like there's a certain limit of intellect that you have to be able for us to look at you like, oh, okay, you're actually able to insult us correctly, basically. And it's like you guys just aren't reaching that because you aren't forming the insults correctly that would actually make us think for a second instead of us just being like, well, this doesn't matter.
And some of the people said that I should lose you guys as co-hosts. A couple did.
I've heard that too.
Yeah. And then they said that Tony adds nothing to it, and Anthony actually thinks he's smarter than he is. I'm going to say something about these guys. They're very smart people. If they weren't, they wouldn't be sitting here across from me. Okay? And I'm going to dispel another rumor, too. There's a guy whose initials are RPT. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to be ugly. But I had to cut ties with that guy. It had nothing to do with anything other than pure moral ethics. And I don't work with lazy people. If you want to take offense to that, take it for which I'm pretty sure you're already working with the other team anyway. I don't care. You know who you are, and I had to cut ties with you. You know why? You've been saying things behind the scenes, but not out in public, and you don't want to start throwing stones, okay? Because there were moral issues that I had to take into consideration. Now I'm going to leave it at that. And you know better because I did what I thought was right. All right. And I know the people in the community probably don't want to hear. They're not going to want to hear all that. I'm being nice. You've been warned. Leave me alone. Stop going around doing things, saying things. I know that people like to go there and dump their garbage. But, it is. What does it say here? Corey Cole says, if you have to make fun of yourself to show them how it's done, there's no hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean,
JoJo had a pretty clever comment. She said, it just sounds like the PRT board game is very interactive.
it's really just a Ouija board. It's kind of like the conference, folks. You know, that satanic ceremony that we had up there in the DFW area.
That's actually the reason you guys haven't covered the truth. The conspiracy has been
handle. Yeah. And some people, like, I'll make fun of myself right now. I'll just sit here and do it. Here it is right here, folks. Here's me making fun of myself. Okay? Put the camera on you, then pan it back to me.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let me get it going. Let me get it started here. Here. Some crazy stuff going on in this community, and I'm sick and tired of it. I'm so mad. The Filthy Five, you're going down. Oh, you got a ringside seat to your own SmackDown, brother. You look like Sonic the Hedgehog's mother. You're a fake, a phony, a rice-a-roni jabroni. How about that? Now we're going to talk about ghosts and goblins and spooky things. And you better not make me mad, because I'll kick you from my chat. I'm not messing around with you. Just look at my hat. You think I'm playing fool? Keep messing with me, because I'm the worst of the ghouls. All right? I beat up everybody. You think I'm joking? Oh, I'll beat you down while I'm chilling and smoking. Watch what happens. Look in my eyes. Don't mess with me or I'm going to make you fry. I could have said die, but that would be just too much, right? Too much. Is that a good... What do you think?
It was like there was two wolves here. I didn't even notice.
Wow. What do you think, folks? Now they're like, he's completely lost his mind. You're right, Mean Gene. I've lost my mind. It's something that's going to be out there I'm never going to find. You don't want this smoke. Oh, with your throat, I'm going to choke. That's me. That's what people think. That's what they really think that's going on in my head, and that I'm just spinning crazy. I'm out there. I'm like, woo, cuckoo bananas. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Right, folks? Just a nutty guy. Right? All right, so that's my impression of me. I don't know. You guys want to take a crack at it and make fun of yourselves or make fun of me? We can do it for them because they can't do it themselves. They're not good at it.
Okay. You want to go first?
Yeah. I am not the greatest. I am not the one and only. Ooh, scary. That's me.
What was that? It's not even entertaining.
I don't know.
We shouldn't have let you go first.
Let's go ahead. Go. What do you got? Is this me or you or who? Who is this?
I'm supposed to be Okay, so are we making fun of you?
Yeah, go ahead. Be me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I was gonna make fun of myself. I thought that's what we were doing.
Make fun of yourself.
Make fun of yourself. Then.
Okay, good. But the lady up in Indiana, she had the ghost of Dogman, and it was very scary, folks. And the way it ended, everyone died. But that's all, folks. See, you could have done something like that, because
Okay, yeah,
like just.
exactly.
You know, I have an obvious, like, stuttering problem sometimes. You could have made fun of that. But instead you have to say, like, oh, they committed home invasion, or, oh, they're laundering money on YouTube, or, oh, they're...
laundering money on YouTube.
Yeah, or no, they're using their YouTube money to launder money, or, I don't know.
Something about our
some
businesses
crap.
or something.
Yeah.
I remember it was so ridiculous. I'll do Tony for you. Here's my impression of Tony.
I could do myself.
Well, I'd like to
Okay.
do it first.
Well, let's let him have a crack at it. He's got to redeem himself.
Let's see what you got. Go ahead.
It's Tony here. I am the one and only. I believe in a lot of stuff. Super open man. Open man. I believe that some
Good
things
job.
ghosties scary. Ooh.
Well, I say hot match.
Ooh.
Hey, folks. This is Chillin. I'm actually Tony. I'm just doing his voice. Okay, all right. For enough of this. Okay, let's get back to the entertaining part of the show. Okay, the encounters. That's why you're here. I'm sorry, folks. I had to do that, and I had to, because these people are so ridiculous. you can see they dropped out because they're all lurking in the chat, going like, waiting for me to fail. Like, you're not going to make me fail, folks. You're not going to do that, okay? And not you, the friends. Not you. It's these nonsense people. You never seen anybody like me before, ever. Because I can make fun of myself all day long, and you think, oh, you're going to get to me. You're going to get to me. You know what makes me sad is when people stab me in the back. They said he was up there like a B-I-T, whatever word, crying. I did cry. I did. Cried tears of anger, and for the knives that were stuck in my back by people who I thought were my friends. That's what made me sad. And you know what it really, honestly, made me sad was that these people who I thought were my friends, that I had to come to the realization that they were evil. Simple as that. That made me sad. You can call me Jerry Jones, Jim Jones, Alex Jones. They've called me all the Joneses that they could call me. Okay? Call me what you want, but you need to call me successful because we are. And you need to stop making fun of me because whatever you can do, I can do 10 times worse. Oh. And I don't take the high road always. I can be very immature too. I'm, just doesn't matter.
Oh, and another dumb one was that they zeroed in, like, making fun of your top teeth or whatever. Mm-hmm. When, like, dude, I'm the one with crooked top teeth.
Yeah, let me see. Let me show the camera.
Like, me and Tony are the ones with messed up teeth.
There's my
He
teeth.
has crooked top teeth. I have crooked bottom teeth.
Teeth are fine.
Yeah, like,
My teeth are fine.
how stupid are you, man?
Together, we make Ike's teeth normally.
Like, if you took my top teeth and combined it with his bottom teeth, you'd have a mouth full of crooked teeth.
Yeah.
But like the one guy who actually has straight teeth, that's whose teeth you're gonna
this too.
criticize.
This too. The eyebrows. They said the eyebrows show that I am satanic.
That's why I had to have my trim. It's like my horns, you just had to trim them down real quick to not show.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Take a file to him.
All right, so let me give you another one here. So this one happened in Virginia City, Nevada. Is that the one we're talking about? Thank you, Anna. She says, Wolf, you're a man who stands in truth and honor. I appreciate that. I do get a little carried away at times, but I'm at least entertaining, right? I mean, it's entertaining. They call me Jowls, like, hey, look at this Jowls. Look at his face. Look at him. Look at everybody. Look, it's just make fun. Good. Good for you. Right? You had everybody fooled, didn't you? You had a nice little racket going up there, guys, until, well, it just came crashing down, didn't it? 80 people in your chat. That seems to be the order of the day for you guys. I challenge any of them to make a live stream and actually put more than 150 people in your chat. I challenge you all. Can't do it. Not you folks, but the you know who I'm talking about. Two Shadows, thank you for that donation, everybody. We appreciate it. So here's I'm going to tell you a Dogman story, and this one happened on Halloween night. It's not real. I'm going to be real honest. It's not real action-packed or eventful, but, it is what it is. Good night, Barton. We'll see. He says, love you guys and all my paratrooper friends and family. What an amazing author that guy is. Everybody.
Have a good one, Barton.
As soon as we get back on, we're able to do giveaways again, I'm going to get another bunch of his books, and because you got to get Inhumanoids. I tell you right now. I think that was another reason why we got attacked, or Nellie got attacked. I say we because we're a team. We're a unit. And when they attacked her in that group, the Coalition for Bullcrap, whatever, when they attacked her, she used the words inhumanoid. And that really set them off because they don't like Barton. They're like, only one that's ever used that name around here was Barton Nutley. Now you've really made us mad. Get a rope. What they don't expect is that we're going to fight back, or we're not going to take your crap. We're not going to sit back and let you critically think, okay? You can critically think up my backside. How about that? Yeah, how about that? Personal, public apology, and then I will say that for my part, which all I did was defend my wife. Otherwise, no dice. Hombre. Okay? Okay. Okay. Because when you mess with me, all right, you get the fangs. Okay. Here's what I'm going to tell you. This is not a very, you know, whatever. But this happened on Halloween night. Now, these guys were driving to a party, and they were. It was right outside of Virginia City. Not a party, but like a get together, and it happened right outside of Virginia City, which is, according to what people have told me, it's a very treacherous stretch of road, and they have to go a certain speed, or something bad could happen. Hey, Joanne, are you late to the party tonight? What you doing? So, anyways, they see this thing come crawling. Like, there's like a mountainside, I guess, from what they were describing to me. And it was crawling down the side of this steep embankment. And then it just kind of walked out in front of their vehicle, looked at them, and then went down off the side. And when they said it was like a steep drop off, I don't know. I haven't been there. I don't know much about the terrain. This is just a story that I was given. And this story was also given to me. The person that gave me this story, his name was Bobby. That's all I can tell you. And he was driving with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's best friend. So I don't know what it was that they saw, but I can give you a description of it. It looked at first glance, they thought it was a wolf that it turned out to be like a man because it stood up on its hind legs, but the legs and arms were extremely skinny. And then the midsection was kind of paunched, like a belly. So think of like my midsection with Tony's arms and legs. With a big head, though, with a wolf-like head. But it almost looked like a person. This is what's even weirder. When the light shined on this creature, the face of this creature was very prominent. It was very wolf-like, but it looked like it was wearing something on top of its head, which was like a second wolf head. So it almost looked like a werewolf with really skinny arms and legs wearing a wolf head on top of the wolf head. Like, it was weird. So they didn't know what they were looking at. They thought maybe they were looking at two wolves stacked together or something. And it was just a very strange thing. That caught my eye. I didn't talk to these people. It was just a story that was sent in to us. I sent it to you, I believe, Anthony. And so it's just, or maybe it was Tony, one of y'all. But anyway, the point is, it happened on Halloween night. People see weird things on Halloween night. That's the whole point. I don't know. If you had to say what it was, here's another thing too. The second wolf head thing seemed to be like sort of like a brownish beige color mixed with gray. The face and everything else about this other creature was like hair, sparse hair, but then fur around the neck and head area. And they said that it could have also been somebody wearing like a really weird, elaborate mask, but how it was traversing that so easily was another weird thing. And the legs were way too long, and it was about 6'6", about 6.5 foot tall. And the way it went down the other side of the embankment was too weird. So if you take into this all this into account, and then it had a reddish brown, light hair all over its body, what do you think?
It's hard to say. I mean, typically whenever they're like just like real ugly and like skinny and mangy, I want to say like a skinwalker, like some kind of shapeshifter, because you know that they can't always get the form completely correct. But like if it looks like something, like a lot of people describe their encounters as looking like that werewolf on the Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman. Mm-hmm. Like if it's something like that, I think it's like a spiritual creature manifested in the flesh. But if it's real ugly, I think it's something like just completely. Maybe it's like a person, you know, who's just demonic.
That makes me wonder though. Like, is it? Since we have already established that these are, you know, they do have physical forms, is it possible for them to get like diseases, or like what are diseases that would affect cryptids? Because like, you know, that's, I mean, sounds like your typical.
If their genetic makeup is similar enough to the animals that they're imitating, they might. You
know what? Let's do a poll on that. That's a good one, because you know we were doing the poll on Friday. Let's say this. Not asking what this creature is, but let's ask the audience what they think that this thing, like if you think that these things are, let's say this, like, should we do just for the stories we told tonight, the encounters that were told for tonight, or should we do it like just in general? What do you think these creatures are? Are they something flesh and blood, purely flesh and blood? That should be one option. Another one, are they purely spiritual? And then another one should honestly, it should be, I don't know, like something in between.
Skinwalkers,
or is it something that it's a human?
Mhm.
Like, you know, there's so many questions too.
Yeah,
Like, do they get diseases?
And is it possible for them to go the other way, where you know we
Was it cryptococcal pneumonia? What the? We have the funniest audience. I've been in other chats, man, and there are some funny people there, but not like ours. You know,
no, we have clever people. Yeah,
this thing's buffering.
it's working for me.
Do you want to add any more options?
What do you see? Flesh and blood, spiritual, mixture of both, or let's see, and then we can maybe let's do that one for right now. Let's do that one,
Yeah,
and
we
then
can make
we'll
more
do a
polls.
second one. And I want to do the second one about where they come from and what they think they are.
I wonder if it's possible for, you know, since we can go from human to half cryptid, hybrid, mixed abomination, I wonder if it's possible for them to go to physical creature to half human mixed thing, so where like they can try to dehumanize themselves. Where they go from the cryptid to a human basically, but they're still that
What are
physical,
you talking about?
the form of a cryptid, and then it goes to a human, and then
What was that?
it was the form of the cryptid of
Saying when you
it's cryptid of it's my stapler. It's my red stapler.
You take my stapler.
Take my stapler.
Take my stapler. And I told you no salt. No salt. So what do we got here in the poll? Is it up?
Yeah, it's up. %, mixture of both.
Yeah.
Mixture of both. Wow. Well, that just overwhelmingly whooped everything's ass. So,
I think we can end that poll.
okay. Well, that poll was pretty overwhelmingly that way. All right. This is the nature of Dogman. What about this? What about where do they come from? Is it interdimensional,
Inner Earth,
extraterrestrial,
or extraterrestrial,
inner Earth,
or pure spiritual?
or is it a type of species that just evolved? Which I don't believe that, but to each their own, I suppose. Did you spell extraterrestrial wrong? I put an S. I said interdimensional, extraterrestrial, inner Earth.
Hey, Chris,
Government created.
Cluffy, Mister, we showed you that in confidence. We didn't know you were going to go blabbing about it.
Yeah, we don't have basements here in Texas. So
Yeah.
I guess it only gives you 4 options. I just started.
So let's see what we got here. Somebody said extra dimensional. Since they appear all over the world, most likely they're local kids, been here longer than us. I don't know, maybe. Interdimensional, 47%. Inner Earth, 37%. Ooh, interdimensional, 51%. Government created. What about this, folks? Put me back on the deal here. What about this? What if they're both of like there are the government created kind, but then there's something that I mean, I'm going to say something, and this may sound really crazy, but what if Dogman? It just sticking with Dogman for right now. What if it's all of the above? I don't know. That's a scary thought too, Red Raider. I think they exist with us just in a different spectrum and frequency. Humans gonna see. Yeah, that's a creep. That's That's disconcerting, to say the least, because they could be right there and you don't see them. I don't want to believe. Do not want to believe that. Inner Earth.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to believe there's a barrier of some sort.
Susan says, I was going for Inner Earth, but the poll wouldn't stay up where I could choose it. We did that on purpose just to mess with you, Susan. We didn't want you voting.
Yeah, we all talked about this beforehand. If any polls we make, we need to make sure we cut them off.
We're like that one group where they like Castro. Okay, Castro doesn't let people vote. Sorry. Yeah, you can't be a part of this. You're not atheistic enough. And I'm not atheist, folks. But anyway, that's some people that are. Teleporting zombies would be creepy. I think teleporting anything is kind of creepy if it's a flesh and blood thing in particular.
Oh man, teleporting zombies are scary though, because that's like their one weakness is how slow they are.
Is it? Because in some of these zombie movies, they're running all fast.
Yeah,
like
just because the zombies are pretty useless.
Usain Bolt.
It's hard to believe that you could destroy a world if zombies are just walking that slowly.
Samuel Lemon says interdimensional as well. Let's see. I don't know, man. Did you get the description, of what we were talking about in near Virginia City? What it looked like? Because you got up to go to the restroom.
Oh yeah, I got like the back parts of it.
Like the back side of it?
No, I mean like the ending of your description.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because what it boils down to is that this thing had long, skinny limbs.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking it probably looked something like that coyote thing where it was just all patches of hair, mangy looking.
The one in Missouri?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so like that's what made me think like immediately, like, oh, what if like these are just
off-roader
diseased animals, and all this is completely hypothetical. I don't think it's possible, or even this is something that just came in my head real quick. But if it is a disease that do affect dogmen, is it possible that disease also affects our wildlife, and that might be what these not deer are?
Well, yeah, that's what we've talked about.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that before, I think. But
what is the poll at now?
Let's see.
I think there could have been something from the inner Earth, and maybe they use dimensions. I mean, different portals. I don't know. Something could have been taken by the government.
Yeah, it's 55 interdimensional, 6 extraterrestrial. Let me see.
Mickey G, that's a very good question. Mickey G, did you see Mickey G's comment?
28 inner Earth and 12 government. Let me see. How many of these creatures are out there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what's scary is if these, we have 4 different options here.
111 votes. Anybody else want to vote before we close it out?
We have 4 different options here, but if you think about how if every single one of these options was true, does that necessarily mean that a dogman from the inner Earth is going to work with a dogman from a different dimension? And if that's the case, then that means you have 2 massive groups of similar but different creatures all around us at all times. So it's pretty scary to think about,
Yeah, maybe we should get him on the show, Isaac Ayahuasca. I talked to him like a couple weeks ago. Maybe we could get him on the show and talk about this. Like this poll, 119 votes now. The poll, 53% interdimensional, 29% inner Earth. Government created 12%, extraterrestrial 6%. We can end it. Just reading the comments, folks. We're trying to figure out, hellhounds. Man, we got a story about that too. I think that's a pretty good one. We should talk about that one eventually. Not today. We don't have time today. But somebody had just said they saw an Anubis-looking creature. Who was that? Somebody said my first encounter was an Anubis type creature. Who said that? I saw it and the chat moves so quickly now.
God, that was Fruition.
Croatian, would you like to talk about it? Tell your story? Yeah.
Yeah, Scorpion says, honestly, I believe that there's different species, so why can't each species be from each of the different choices?
Oh, he's talking about that comment. I thought he said this one where it says, hi, Mickey G. I was like, oh. No, I mean, yeah. That's definitely another possibility. I mean, that's what's scary about this. Our lack of knowledge in all of this is that as we come up with more questions, we don't have ways to rule out those questions anymore. So they still stay there and they linger, and more questions just get added on top.
Sorry. I always come up with something when you start talking.
Yeah.
That's by design. I'm only serious. So what do you do?
No, I think we go back and forth where like,
well, I mean, I have to be prepared because no telling what you might say because you add nothing according to edit. You add nothing. So who knows? But, that's where the smart people go. And it's Larry Fisher. Hey, Larry Fisher and Sons, folks. Give him the promo. And you don't need to give me anything, Larry. Just give him the promo.
Yeah.
Don't feel
I would like a new
every
roof
time
though, Larry. I mean,
Yeah. We need a new roof.
Well, if you do need a new roof, you can call Larry Fisher and Sons right here. You probably last time I messed it all up. You couldn't see the number, but hang on. Okay, so that's Larry's roofing company. He's one of our longtime supporters, one of our sponsors.
So
roofing is something you don't need till you need. So when you do, give Larry a call.
Okay, so what we got is Froetian. Froetian, is there a way? It says, sounds like a plan, Josh. Do you want to tell the story right now? Hey, Clever Conquistador, I haven't seen you in forever. What's going on? Do you want to tell the story? We can talk about it right now. We got 30 minutes. We go 3 hours on the show typically. That's usually when we cut it off. Anybody want to tell their story? Froetian, if you want to tell your story, send me a message on Messenger on Facebook, or I could call you. I could just call you straight up.
we're supposed to have a guest tonight, so
Yeah, we were supposed to have a guest, but he couldn't make it. Something happened over the weekend. In fact, pray for him because Jimmy, he lost someone, a family member. I believe his uncle passed.
I wish
A lot of people passing away right now. Please pray for everybody. There's a lot of people suffering right now, big time. And let's pray. Another thing too, and we make light of a lot of stuff, and I make parodies and jokes about these men. But let me stress something else, okay? And this isn't about attacking people, but they have victims, folks. Victims. And we need to pray for their victims. Pray for the victims and their healing and the things that they've done to these people. That's why I keep telling you folks, you don't know the whole story. It might have started off popping off as some internet beef, but that's not what this has become. It's not what it is. These people have victimized a lot of people. A lot of them were women and some of them were children. So what I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to give details about any of it. Pray for those people, okay? Let's not forget about them in this whole thing.
I think our track record has shown that we're not people that just attack others, and that if it's possible for us to just leave each other alone and go separate ways, we're more than willing to choose that option. So if, the fact that we're still on this and we find it, the need to continue with what we're doing just proves that we believe in what we're doing and that it's something that needs to be done.
Joanne, I'm sorry to hear that. Joanne, very, very good support of the show. Her brother-in-law passed. I'm so sorry to hear that. This is a lot of people are passing away. We were eating dinner at Freida's. Very nice place. The woman is Taiwanese, the woman that owns the place. Very nice lady. And our friend Angie, who was a waitress there, told us, her and Dylan, the manager, that somebody had died recently there in the restaurant. He was only 43. He clutched his heart and he just fell over. He wasn't like a big, overweight guy. I have my theories about why it may have happened, but I'm not going to say it, but he passed away. Like what did they say? Like a week or two ago?
Yeah, it was recent.
We were eating dinner with Eric Palacios from Media Palace. You're going to hear his name a lot, too, because we're going to be doing a documentary with him. And, of course, Chris Garitano, too. And we are about to, I got to announce this. We're doing the UAP project. It's about to start. In fact, earlier today, Nick Redfern just messaged me, and I need to get with you, Barton. I guess you're probably gone already, but we need to get together and figure out how we're going to do it. Barton's going to be working in the background, but we're going to do a project. And now I need to ask you folks how you want me to do this. Do you want me to put it out there as a live stream and a Zoom call and do multiple? Because there's several people. It's about a dozen people now from the UFO community that are kind of on the fringes of the cryptid community too, that are going to be involved in this, the UAP project. It's going to be big. We're going to do like multiple sets. We can do it on our off days if you want. And can you believe this? Somebody reached out to me and said, we're doing too much work. Like we're putting out too much material. Stop, slow down, whatever. Blow it out your behind, dude. Okay. Don't act like you're my friend and then come at me like that and tell me that I need to slow down. You know what? Do better. Do better. We're running our businesses and we're doing this, and you stay busy. I don't have time to be bored. Okay. If you have time to be bored, then you have time to do better. I have hobbies I used to do. I don't get to do it anymore. I haven't been to the range in forever. I haven't gotten to, there's things I wanted to learn how to do in my life. I wanted my wife to teach me how to shoot a bow and arrow. Didn't get to do that. There's a lot of things I'm sacrificing to be here. So how dare you come at me like that? Come at me like you wanted to start something with me. Why? Because you think everybody's dogpiling on me, it's going to get on me or whatever? No, that's not going to happen. You're just going to be put in the waste bin with the rest of the trash. But thank you for showing your true colors and saying that. And try to be nice and reach out to somebody and try to bury something, and that person's like, I'm not interested in talking to him, and I'm glad he's out of my life. I wasn't even in your life. But there was something very pertinent that I could have told you. But you know what? You make your own bed. Have fun. Keep pretending to be what you are. Or you're not. Bunch of phony balonies. Bunch of phonies. Whatever. I don't need your help. Okay? I can sit up here and make a fool of myself on my own. All right? Jabroni? And that's what they think. They think I'm up here making a fool of myself. And they're like, one of the comments, they said, don't quit your day job. Well, the joke's on you. I don't have a day job. I have a career. And then they said that I had made a comment about I wanted to do this full time. Believe it or not, I'm really close to being able to do that. Do you realize that we're putting out 4 shows a week? I bet that really sucks for you, doesn't it? Because you just love to hate Josh Turner, and I just love it. In fact, this cup is filled with your tears. I'm going to take a drink. Oh, that's good. Like, what about Bob? Oh, man, this chicken is so good. Richard Dreyfuss is over there like, Yeah, that's them. They're Richard Dreyfuss, and I'm Bill Murray. Go watch What About Bob. Oh, this chicken is wonderful. Oh, my gosh, Bob, you're really making me mad. Bob. That's them. They're Richard Dreyfuss, and I'm Bill Murray, living my best life. I sailed. You wouldn't believe it. I sailed. Yeah. And they're mad. They're so mad. I can't stand it.
Marmar said, I meant to say all these other channels have memberships, so the subscribers who can't afford the memberships don't get to see what the members do. I love that you guys don't do that.
I don't do that. And I don't hide behind a paywall.
Yeah, we don't. We didn't even do that for Patreon. This is one of the main things we were talking about. Was like, what do we do to give back? And one of the suggestions was like, should we do an extra show and just give it to just the Patreon members? And we were like, no,
we're not going to do that.
We're not going to hold any of this material back
Hostage.
Because it's like that's not the reason we have all this information. It's not to keep it so that you have to pay for it.
No. We want it to be out there. And then we're being told, and this person meant well, they're not a bad person, but they said to stop promoting other channels. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to promote them until they give me a reason not to. Why would you want to be the only kid on the block, the only one on the planet? I don't want to monopolize anything. And they said that I want to be in control of the community. Who the hell wants that kind of responsibility to be in control of the community? Can you imagine if you were the king of the community? What that is? When you're the king, you're slave to everybody. How about we just have peace and everybody do their thing and I do my thing and we just be allowed to do our things, Why does it have to be some kind of bullcrap? That's people who think like they have agendas. That's why they think the way they do.
It's because it's like, oh, that's how I think. So that means everybody's thinking that way.
And these people, I'm friends with these people. Like I was on the phone with Bettina, my wife and me and Bettina and what's her name, Maddie. We were just having a good time on the phone before I had to go to the gym. Like, what was it? Was that Saturday? It was Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was laughing and joking and having a good time. We're friends. You know, Phil Stern, he gave me a story. He's my friend. Chase, you know, he messaged me today with a funny meme. I mean, I barely met this guy, but he's funny. He's a nice guy. You know, I don't abandon. Somebody wants to give me a story. Hope see ya. Thanks for the story, man. I'm glad I could be your therapist. Yeah, bull crap, okay? Cut the crap. All right? There's enough gangster bull crap out there to be acting tough and hard and whatever. I wasn't trying to act tough and hard. I'm just being who I am. I'm just being who I am. People around here know me differently than people on there. And my friends are like laughing. They're just like, who are these people talking? You know, like, they don't know you, and it doesn't matter. You know, I mean, but it became something more. It became about helping people. And folks, let me give you some advice. And you take this with however you want to take it. That's why I like Christmas. Christmas is a time where you can give to people, and you don't have to have a reason other than it's the celebration of Christ's birth or whatever it means to you. For me, that's what it means. And I don't want to hear this about, oh, it was started as a pagan holiday and every kind of excuse in the book to do what? To not help your fellow man? You get stressed out because you got to go to the dollar store and buy him a gift. Let me tell you something. Taking time out to help someone. You know that there are people in rest homes and you can go and you can volunteer to help those people. You know that there's soup kitchens and you can go and volunteer to help those people. I've done all those things. And I'm not touting myself. Look, I'm such a good guy. You give me some kudos for doing what we're supposed to be doing. No, you don't congratulate me for doing what you're supposed to be doing. I don't want congratulations for that or doing what I'm doing to help people because that's what you're supposed to do. I don't ever brag about anything I do for people. You shouldn't do that. There's a ton of people that I've helped in this community, and I don't ask for nothing in return. If they choose to step up and say I did it, so be it. It's nothing I'm going to ever go to them and say, hey, you know what? You need to tell people that I'm a good guy over here, all right? You know? No. And when I do talk to these people, if you think for a second that I want my listeners stumbling in to that situation that my wife did, you're out of your freaking mind. I'm going to tell you right now, don't go to those groups and get involved with those people because they will eat you alive. And what they do is so bad. It is so wrong and so destructive. Because there are people who've cried to me on the phone about their encounters and what they've seen hurt them and affected them. And they couldn't even talk about it. There's no way you could get them to tell their story. No way. And these guys can attest to that. And I could tell you this. They stumble into that group, and if they open up, what if that's the first time they open up? And then these people, yeah, we got you. We're skeptics, and we're going to mess with you. Throwing pumpkins like the hobgoblin, green goblin. No, sir. Okay? It's not going to happen. I don't want my people over there being affected by that. I would be remiss if I told you, oh, no, it's okay. Go over there and do what you got to do. Because they're not going to treat you kindly, and you're not going to be well received. There is no critical thinking going on over there. It's just attack of anybody who has anything to say. I don't go to their and let me tell you something else. You don't come to my Facebook and start a bunch of mess and say things to everybody on there and then act like it was some sort of misunderstanding or whatever the heck. I don't give a crap. It was not a misunderstanding. You did what you did. You came at me, and I did not come at you wrong. I asked you to make sure it wasn't, maybe it was. But when you come on my page and you do what you did, you take a big crap all over the place, and it's all there to go look, go see it. Messy individual. You're always messing with people. You've been doing it for a long time, and then you lied, and you said you didn't know who I was. Yes, you did, because you insulted my conference last year. You did. I remember. I was told. I don't give a crap. You're nobody. You said, who the hell are these people? You have a group of 10,000 people. I have a show with almost 30,000. You're the obscure person, okay, that people need to avoid. You want to call me obscure, call me a little peanut, whatever it is that I am, fine. You called my wife the B word. You said B word on there, but you can't spell, so he said B wide. Then you fleece the community because something happened to your little store. Let me tell you something, buddy. Okay? Toaster strudel. I don't like you. You don't like me. The best thing you can do is duck and hide and go back into your hovel of a group and don't ever whisper my name again. You understand? I don't give a crap about you. I don't want to make friends with you. I don't want to play nice with you. Leave me alone. Leave my people alone. I'll leave you alone. That's all you got to do. That's something that the Filthy Five couldn't figure out. It takes a village of idiots to make a group like yours. And anybody who's in that group, if you're in there for any other reason than to mock people, well, prove it to me, because I haven't seen anything but mockery going on. And believe me, I'm not going to your turf to pick a fight, because I'm not that naive. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to go to your turf.
We just have better things to do in life.
We do. I have a lot of things to do, like make a living, okay, and put on a show. Somebody said, "Are those zip-up hoodies? Zip-up hoodies. What's the word on those? Because they sure are dragging on those."
Have they come in yet?
Yeah, I'm just waiting on Printful to I think they're gonna send the last sample. Should be coming in this week, and I have to make sure that the logo is on there in the correct spot before I forward it to the store. So probably by maybe the middle or late next week, they should be in the store.
Let me ask you a question, folks. If you think that I'm wrong, okay, and I want to hear from real people that are supporters of the show, not these fly-by-night people that try to defend and protect my people from insults and attacks and the snares and darts and all that they're going to throw at you. Do you think I'm wrong for telling you that? Because there's people criticizing me on the internet about that. Why wouldn't you protect your audience? And in fact, a friend of mine, he's a nice guy. He's from Washington, and he's trying to be neutral, trying to broker a peace. He's a peacekeeper. I see what he's trying to do. He's like, well, you're right to try to keep your people out of there because it's not for them. And he's right. It's not for you, okay? Because if you're a believer, or even if you're a mild skeptic, because I'm skeptical about some things, but there's no spirited debate going on there. It's just attacking people who don't believe like they do, which is atheism 100%. Now, one of my best friends is an atheist, okay? It's his choice. He wants to be an atheist. Let him be an atheist. I don't give a crap what he decides. I'm never going to sway him. I've tried talking to him. It doesn't matter. I don't attack him for his belief, and I damn sure don't attack skeptics, especially when I'm mildly skeptical myself. But I'm going to tell you this. You don't create a group so you can sucker people in so you can gut punch them when they try to open up about their experiences. Because I, unlike them, have talked to many, many people and had them literally cry to me on the phone or in person. I had somebody at the conference, and me and Tony were standing right there. This person was in tears about what happened to them. How are you going to take people and just destroy them like that? You don't believe in anything, because if you did, you would know that karma is real, and so is Jesus, and you would understand that you are building a huge debt for yourself, because this life ends, right? And then there's a threshold to another life, and that's the one you need to be worried about. So mock and joke and laugh and have a good old time, because at some point that little train ride that you're on is gonna wreck and gonna end. And then you have a lot of explaining to do. I'm not the worst of your problems. Now, you spun out and went crazy over me. Wait till you see the end of the tunnel, my friend. What I am going to do, though, is pray for you. But I don't know if it'll do any good. And that's not for me to decide or judge. Your journey is your journey. Now I'm on mine. Leave me alone. Stop talking about me. Go on with your life. Lick your wounds and huddle together with your little group of whatever the heck you are. They also accuse us of being a bunch of right-wing conspiracy nuts. Whatever, dude. I'm very middle of the road, okay? But I'll say this. When you want to talk about bigotry and that I was hard on the skeptics and the atheists, whatever, you've been hard on my people for a long time. You've been attacking my people for years. And I put a stop to it in another group that no longer exists. You know why that group doesn't exist? Because I put a stop to it. That group shrunk from almost 4,000 people to 500 people. Because I took a stand. Because they love to attack Christians. And you know what they really did? They love to attack women. This isn't the Dark Ages, people, okay? Always screaming and crying and whatever. Yeah. People love to dish it out, but they can't take it. To me, that's a classic example there, too, of dishing, and then when you get gangsta slap, whoa, this man attacked me brutally. He came in here, he's a troll. You go to my page and attack 100 people and say that we're trolling you? What in the hell is wrong with your mind? Keep your own house in order. Like I said in Walter Cronkite's voice, houses reduced to ash and rubble. That's why. Because you mess with people you shouldn't be messing with. Call me a bully. Call me all the little silly names you want to call me. I don't give a crap. Lump me together with these other sleight of hand, prestidigitators. I don't give a crap what you call me. Sorcerer, demon possessed, and whatever the filthy fives people. And this guy talking about I'm a religious Christian zealot, and I'm this and I'm that. Look at my face. Does it look like I give a crap? PRT train rolling, folks. Now, we had a situation where we didn't have a bunch of stories planned because we had to do one for Tuesday. We had to do the show. And we were supposed to have a guest on Friday, so we didn't have a lot of time to prepare. And at the last minute, we weren't able to get the other guests to come on today. So we had to tell the stories that we had. But we do have a lot of them. We just got to get them fleshed out and get them put out there. Before we go, I'm going to give you one more because we have 10 minutes left, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're
About
good?
14, something like that.
We're good? Okay. This comes from your neck of the woods, Tony. This person was Vietnamese, and they said that Tony looks like he's Hispanic. He doesn't look Vietnamese, and y'all need to quit pretending like he's Vietnamese.
They keep telling me that. Been telling me that my whole life.
I'm messing with you. The lady at Sam's, you shocked her when you started talking Vietnamese. She was like, oh, she looked at you like, who are you? Like, whoa, you speak Vietnamese? And she's like, she talked pretty good English, though. She was like, your Vietnamese is very good. You're like, I'm Vietnamese. And she didn't, you know.
I think Peter and Lee forget sometimes that I'm Vietnamese.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'll greet them and I'll see the look on Peter's face like, huh? Who the heck is talking to me like that?
He does it every time.
Yeah.
But that's one of our jeweler friends, really good people, nice people. Now, they went through something terrible. And this is about communism right here. They took Peter's brother-in-law out at midnight and executed him in his front yard. Those are our jewelers. Those are the people that work, for, that we work with. They're very nice people. That's where I got this right here. A really good discount on it, too. And he made this for me, this boar's tusk. He capped it and everything. I'm going to say this. If anybody has any doubt in their mind, here, this is a story I was given by a person that fought for the South Vietnamese. And you want to hear about the rock apes and all that? I'll tell you. He used to work with the Americans. He was what they called a tunnel rat. And he was a full-blooded Vietnamese, from Saigon. And right outside of Saigon. That was the largest city around his village. And during Vietnam, I met him by way of his son. And he was somebody I met from the gym about 2 years ago. In fact, Anthony, we meet a lot of people at the gym. I'm not saying Tony because he doesn't go with us, but we meet a lot of people at the gym who have some crazy stories. Of course, they're night owls like us, and they're like, what do you guys do? And I'm like, well, we do a lot of things. Mostly just lift weights and eat eggs and steak. Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's how we live together. So we started talking to this guy. And he said, my dad has an incredible story to tell you. His dad speaks pretty good English because he's been here for a long, long time. He got out of Vietnam and he was taken with the Americans when they were driven out of South Vietnam. And one of the things that is very sad is when war happens, like in Afghanistan, when the interpreters and the people that are trying to help us, They just get left behind. You know what usually happens to them? They don't live. And if they do manage to get out, well, their families are killed. And that happened to this particular person. He got out. They made it a point to send him pictures to show him what they did to his family members. Not his immediate family, but his sister, his brother, his mom. Very sad. And but he doesn't regret trying to help stop communism in his country. Before it managed to take hold, he did his part. And one of the things he was commissioned to do by the United States was to go in, and the South Vietnamese government was to go in with the other soldiers and tunnel rat. Try to root out and lay explosives and knock out these Viet Cong tunnels. So that's what he did. Very nice guy, very humble, God-fearing man. And he went into one of these tunnels, and what he saw was not human. It was dressed in clothes, and it looked sort of like a person, but the skin of this creature, or I say creature, it was hanging off of it, and the skin below, underneath it was green. He said, I shined my light right at it. I looked right at it. He's like, and it had fangs, and it looked like a human mask was coming off of it. It had claws and talons and was crawling through one of the tunnels, and he saw it turn, look at him, and then go straight ahead where there was like a left-right, where he could go left to right. It was going from the left to right. And he backed up, and he started screaming, hey, we need to back up, get out of here. There's something in here. When he shined his light further down the tunnel, he saw several of the Viet Cong laying there, and they were dead, unalived. I guess I should say unalive because we don't want to get, He said this thing, whatever it was, looked like it may have been human at one time, or it was pretending to be human. This was his story. He was sent down in there. He was with the Marines, and they told him, we need you to go in. He's a small guy. He could fit. There were a couple other of Americans that were there that were with him. One was a Native American guy, and he went in. And one of his best friends was just a good old country boy from Iowa. They made really good friends over the years. He claimed to have seen one too, something very similar. When they captured some Viet Cong, one of the things that was told to them, and you remember, Anthony, Uncle Frank telling us about Vietnam? Do you remember that?
I don't think he ever told me much about it.
Well, we were at Thanksgiving, and we were sitting around the table, and he was talking about your dad hating Christmas.
Oh, not my dad.
Your stepdad, sorry about that. And he said that the Christmas tree had been thrown. You told him about the Christmas tree being thrown out.
Yeah.
And he said, what, did the Christmas tree whoop his ass when he was a kid? Why is he always throwing the Christmas tree outside? Because he was always, as they say in Spanish, borracho teres, was always acting a fool. And so my Uncle Frank, he told us a weird story. He just passed away recently, several months ago. He told us about being in Vietnam, and he didn't go into a lot of detail about the weird stuff, but he heard stories, but they were secondhand. He didn't know if it was real, of like ape-like creatures throwing rocks at people and even killing a soldier, hitting him in the head. One of the Vietnamese regulars was killed. And there were these caves and these tunnels, and Vietnam's a very, very creepy place. It's steeped in mystery, and still to this day, there's pieces of jungle there. Nobody goes. And so what happened was this guy, he told him, he says, I got a friend. He goes, and his story is really incredible too. And his name is Isaiah. And I don't have time tonight, but I will tell his story. The next time we're around, whatever, we'll tell that story. I'll write it down so I can remember to tell it. Oh, it's already there. So anyways, that's it for tonight, folks. I'm going to leave you with that. And what he saw in that tunnel did something. We will conclude, and I will tell you Isaiah's story on the next show. So, sorry, guys, we got to go. I really got to go. And my wife is messaging me. I don't know who is that messaged me. Oh, never mind. I thought it was my wife. It's on the same thread, but no, it's just somebody else. You're not important. Don't be messaging me while I'm over here doing my business. But anyways, folks, that story, it's too long and in depth, like to go into right now today. But anyway, this guy that we met, his dad had an incredible story. He's getting up there in years, and he doesn't speak. He speaks pretty good English, but not perfect. But yeah, he saw something in those tunnels, and he says, my friend Isaiah, he's still alive. He's got a heck of a story, so went back and forth with him, and I will tell that next time, and my voice is going out too. So we got to run, but thank you, folks, for making PRT what it is. Thank you for putting up with our nonsense and listening to all of our stories, but putting up with our nonsense of making fun of ourselves and doing whatever it is we do. And I stand by what I say about these people. Stay away from them. Avoid them if you can, because they are a part of this community, unfortunately. And people try to tell me, oh, they're respected people in this community. No, they're not. By who? Other people who like to make fun of people? That's who respects you? Because I don't respect you. I have no respect for you at all. None. If you want respect, you give respect, and you've given me no reason to respect you. You want my respect, which I don't think you really care. I don't care. I know I don't care about your respect. Then you give me a reason to respect you. Do something good. Stop messing with people. And don't mess with my people. You're my people. I'm not going to sit back and let you be attacked, and I'm not going to send you into a group where you're going to get hammered. People, it's hard enough coming forward and talking about this stuff as it is without having to worry about somebody bullying you. These people, they want to call me a bully, but you know what? They're bullies, and now they're getting a taste of their own medicine, so they're running and crying over there. He's a bully. He's picking on us. And we didn't do nothing. All we did was pick on people for a decade, and now he's stopping us being a bully. You literally want me out of the way so you can hurt people. That's what you want. And that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Just call me Wolfie the Wall, because I'm going to put up a wall. You're not going to be able to stop me. A wall between your antics and my people, because they don't need to deal with it. All right, folks, we love you. Thank you for everyone who donated and helped make the show what it is. You make it what it is. Thank you for everybody who's been here. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Don't forget, set your clocks back. Oh, wait, you already did, right? Did your clocks already go back?
Yeah.
All right. So it's going to get dark at 2 in the afternoon now, folks. Get used to it. All right, we'll see you.